Laredo, take us out.
Take her out.
All right! Blast off! Take flight each and every Friday night. Join the fun and let's go off-world. Geek out with us live where the nerdiness will thrive. Buckle up and let's go off-world. Toys, comics, pop culture news, movies and so much more. Matthew, Jesse, Curtis, and Sean are your guides on this fun-filled tour. Blast off! Take flight each and every Friday night. Join the fun and let's go off-world. Let's go off-world. Let's go off-world. Hey, hey, hey! Let's go off-world tonight.
Woohoo! It is OffWorld. Kind of 2.0? Maybe a little bit. Normally 2.0 Jesse is not here with us, but Jesse has no D&D tonight. But it's not a real OffWorld because we also don't have Dooch, and it's not a normally scheduled week. So OffWorld 1.5? Sure.
3.0.
We'll go with that. I'm happy to be here. We've got
2.0.
Yeah. We've got Jesse with us. Jesse, how are you doing, sir?
2.0 no. I'm doing all right. I'm still getting over whatever I've been fighting for the last couple of weeks, but I'm in much better shape tonight, and I'm happy to be here, even though it's normally a D&D night. I'm glad to be here with you guys tonight.
Well, we appreciate you being here with us. So next we got Sean. Sean, what's up?
Oh.
Yeah. Sean's wearing a little color on the shirt tonight so that even if the lights go dark, it's not just going to look like a floating head. So appreciate that.
Yeah, every now and then it helps. I don't want to be zombie every time. So
I do see some people in the chat, including Amber Gonzalez. But Amber, Ryan is supposed to be on tonight, and he is currently MIA. So what's going on? Like, you're in the chat. Let us know. Where's Ryan? Did you
She
kick
took
him
control.
off the computer? Are you doing another live show and so he's not able to? All right. Joe Gonzalez. Joe, how are you doing, sir?
I am. I'm doing pretty good. I'm actually really excited to be here. So something I've been looking forward to all day.
Awesome. Well, Amber says that Ryan is on the way. So and we've got G here, Echevarria, Duck Collector, we got Eduardo, we got Wholesome Warlock. There you go. I don't know that this is going to be a terribly long show, except for toy pickups because I got a ton of toys this week. But we are going to do an adventure party with characters that have been in comic books, so that should be fun. And probably do it this week in theaters. We're not going to do Have You Ever because Dooch isn't here, but I think that's really what's on tap. Oh, we had the a new segment coming to you tonight called Event Horizon, and you can guess what that's going to be. So we'll hit you with that here in a little bit as well. So let's start off with toy pickups. Jesse, I know you hit the little toy shop this week and picked up some goodies, right?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I do feel like my eyeballs are going to explode. I did pick up because I talked to my buddy Andrew, who, Sean, maybe we should get Andrew on here sometime.
yeah, let's do it.
Hey guys, look, Amber let Ryan use the computer.
I like that she let him.
Hi Ryan, how you doing tonight? I can't hear you if you're talking. She might have messed with your mic settings.
You got to stop talking to let him talk.
We'll see.
Oh, he's real quiet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
there
we can.
It is. Yeah.
Okay.
Man, that's a smooth, velvety voice coming through that microphone.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
It's very nice.
First thing I picked up, I don't really care for the movie, but since Andrew's a Donatello fan and the 2-pack came with Donatello and Raphael, I
Mhm.
got the Turtles 3 Samurai Raphael. Just because I think
Now-
the details on it are really cool, even though I don't like the movie.
Now, on your camera, for me, that looks like he's wearing orange. Is it?
I have a really bright light right in this corner.
Okay. All right. So it is red.
All of this stuff should be red. Does that help?
Okay. No, not really. It still looks.
Little
I mean,
clearer.
maybe it's just me. It looks orange to me, but okay.
Oh, I have a yellow tinted light right over
Okay.
him. So yeah, that's probably anyway.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it's Raphael because he's got size,
Okay. Gotcha.
just like I do every day when I wake up.
Mm.
I know some of these are probably going to be repeats, but
Pete and
I
Repeat
got
are in
my
a boat. Pete jumps
first
out. Who's
couple
left?
of Poxus figures in. So Shmarakagor,
So that's Blue Scourge. Okay.
this Blue Scourge. The color on the scales, like even the pictures people have been posting in the Cabal. I'm not going to say what usually gets said. But the colors on this blow me away. Like it's
Mhm.
like I thought Scourge was cool, and Scourge is cool, but Arakagor just takes it to the whole next level. I love all the pauldrons, the sword. He's just amazing. I was going to get a second one to customize. I think I'm going to get a second Scourge to customize because I don't think I can touch.
See, I think
Arakagor with a paintbrush.
Arakagor is the closest in hand to what it looks like in the pictures, but that's really just because Trevor's blue light doesn't change the way it looks. So, but yeah,
I'm not going to touch that. Speaking of not blue, here's a Hazazar.
I had to real quick. I had to take the OffWorld logo off because it was covering the moneymaker. So,
Mhm.
all right.
So the combined brothers. I know you've been talking about him, and other people have been talking about him. He is really great. I like the effects on his hands and just all the details on everything. Just really cool. I don't have anywhere to put this stuff.
He's made me want to smoke pot because I don't have a black light, and yeah. And I hear he's good with a black light, and a lot of my pot smoking friends have black lights. So I don't know what the deal is. I don't know how they work together, but there you go. See, that's kick ass right there. What is that little thing you got?
It's
Like,
a black light flashlight
Yeah, but where did you get it? Is that just like an Amazon
on my
thing,
shelf.
or-
Oh yeah.
Like, where can I get one of those, Jesse?
I don't know. It's a Craftsman, so I might even gotten it at Home Depot or something like that.
That's awesome.
10 or 15 bucks, battery powered.
I need to see if I can get something that I can throw in my DTOF, like where he's going to be at.
I mean, it's
Look
not
up
very
UV
big.
lights on Amazon.
Yeah.
And I got it initially years ago for my blacklight Funko Pops. I could like turn that thing, when I go to bed at night, I had it right next to my bed. I could turn it on, like shine it around the room, and it would like supercharge them.
Did they have
I got
like
a UV light for curing resin off of Amazon. I bought like 3 or 4 of them over the years. So
okay.
And of course, the Poxy with the Moxie himself.
yeah,
And
He's giving you the shoulder shrug.
So those guys have come home with me today.
And now this being the third of the Dark Four, what are your thoughts?
You can make me not big anymore. I don't have any more to go. Show. I think he's freaking amazing. He's the details on him are great.
Yeah.
Okay. The colors on the wings and everything are really
how we
cool.
do it.
The spell effects for the arrow and everything. I think he's just he's. I really love the soft goods on his like skirt piece and everything, and all the little details on his belt and like the bug type things that are coming out of his head. They're also on his like belt and coming out of his sides and stuff. I just think he's really cool. He might be my favorite of the 3 I have so far.
I never even noticed when they when they did the pre-order for it, that like collar piece thing. Like I didn't even notice because he's like his beard covers a lot of that and stuff and stuff. But that's a cool little piece there. I like that, especially like Joe Suter's been putting it on a bunch of different characters, and it gives it like an immediate like Mad Max vibe or something. Like
he's been killing it with the pops and swaps lately.
Oh, they're amazing. I did my shooting the shelf thing where I asked him if he's got an Instagram so I can promote it. But he said not yet. He said he's thinking about it though. So, but yeah, his pop and swaps lately have been freaking amazing. So cool. Well, let's go to Sean next. Sean, what kind of goodness
Sean.
you got for us this week?
Well,
You chose poorly.
I did choose poor. I do that a lot in my life. This is how it works. So I found Zorana for like $12 on Amazon, so that made me pretty happy, and I really like her. I love that face sculpt a lot. I love that she's giving you the FU look the whole time. Like she can just give you that look on the shelf.
I
like,
love that weapon.
FU for
too.
buying anything. What the heck, man? You know. And
I love that
her
weapon, like the
buzzsaw
little
gun
blade at
weapon.
the end. Yeah, that thing's cool.
Yep, very cool. And this is the only hairpiece I'm dealing with. The other one's way too 80s MILF kind of like, what? I don't need that.
Did you glue it on?
No, but it stayed on pretty well.
See, mine didn't stay well. I threw away the beehive one and glued that one on her. But okay.
Gotcha. And then I ended up, I felt weird getting her without her. So I had to get her too. And this is the retro card version.
Best
so
one.
Her guns are black and everything compared to the original one, which was cool. And then I ended up on Amazon again, Crockmaster, and yes, he's going to keep the hat on. I love it. It makes him look ridiculous, but he's already ridiculous. Why
Where's
not?
the hat from?
Rakondo, and there's a reason.
Okay.
Because I am a fan of Flint. He's my favorite G.I. Joe, but I don't like Flint in Classified. I just don't like the look of him. And over the last week, I was like, how can I do this with the parts that are available, doing the whole pop and swap thing? And I came up with an idea, and I only have it halfway there because I'm waiting for other parts to come in. Should be here tomorrow. But I ended up going this direction with General Hawk head. The hair doesn't bother me because, excuse me here, Stalker, I'm just going to borrow yours for a second. When you put the beret on, it still works. That looks like Flint to me, as far as I'm concerned. This whole part works. I got to take the strap off, but then the bottom part has to be a different thing. This is a Rakondo body. So, but he'll be at my Flint hopefully by tomorrow evening or Sunday.
So you're going to switch out the lower legs? Or
switch out the lower legs, the belt, probably the hands to give them the gloves again and stuff like that. So I figure, hey, the Mythic Legion's pop and swap is going to work for me unclassified. So, yeah.
Okay. All right.
And then they'll bring out a retro card one, and I'll be like, what the hell did I do all that for? But for now, I'm happy.
All right. We'll throw Ryan up here. Ryan, got any toys for us?
I got absolutely nothing this week, which is pretty rare.
Okay.
And I'm broke, so
double dose of Joe.
All right. Well, hey, we appreciate being able to see you on the big screen here. So, all right, Joe, what do you got for us?
Well, I got my Poxus all in, but I've already opened them all and put them on the shelves, so I'm not going to drag them all down.
Okay.
I did want to say though, as far as surprise figures, the one that got me was as a Hazar. How much influence I see in him from Scarabus from the Gothotropolis wave. I've got my Scarabus shelf here, and his staff. It's not exactly the same, but it's similar. The flame effects on the hands, the fact that it's an hourglass because they had the timekeepers. So I ended up enjoying. I already liked the figure. I knew I would, but I ended up enjoying him more than I thought I would, just because of that influence. And then the new series of Halo started this week. course, I haven't got to watch any yet because I've been working, but I did order a couple Mega Halo sets
Nice.
from the show, you know, just to I don't know if I want to say really celebrate, but to celebrate the new season starting. So
I got a question for you.
That's
Every
something
morning when you wake up, is there one of those hanging from your 4-post bed?
I don't have a frame on my bed. I'm kind of trailer trash, Jesse. I'm not sure where we were going with that, but
It's song
Sugar
lyric.
Ray.
We only quote songs that are actually good here, Jesse. So
Speak for yourself. I quote whatever comes into my mind.
all right.
If it's good enough
Obviously,
for
it's not a
Harrison
song I've
Ford
ever
to
heard.
sing, you know.
Okay, so I've got several toys that I opened up this week because I'm been in the GI Joe kick, and then Poxus showed up. So anyway, so I got a lot of shit. So I'll start out. I guess I'll start out with the Joes. I opened up Tiger Force Outback, but I really only opened him because I wanted his boots. I wanted to steal them. So these are not his boots. These are boots from another character, which I got that I switched, and that is the classified Flint. So I did a boot swap on him. I added this little armband thing I got from Peter Johnson that looks kind of cool. Then I gave him a McFarlane shotgun there. So a rifle, whatever. I don't know weaponry, but I actually like him. I think he's cool. The head sculpt's not the best, but the beret's pretty freaking cool. It's not a terrible head sculpt. It's just not a real Flint.
I'm sorry. Can you say that again?
What? That it's not a terrible head sculpt?
Nope.
What?
What was really freaking cool?
The beret.
Okay.
But did I say that wrong?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Anyway, so yeah, I like him. Like I said, he's not the best likeness of him, but he's cool. Then I opened this one today, Dusty. He's pretty neat. The only thing I don't like about this character, some of these GI Joes, they've got this like arm twist up here, and it doesn't like cover the shoulder. Like it's not like some of them the bicep covers the shoulder, and some of them it's like just a straight line. And then when you pose them, sometimes you get this big gap right here. So I don't like the gap on his both arms. The gap is kind of weird. But otherwise he looks pretty cool. So he's decent. Then I got Rock and Roll, throwing up the Cabal horns. So there you go.
Pretty cool.
He is a really awesome one. I love the bullet straps, and it comes out like there's they got a case on his side that the bullets come out of and go into the freaking gun, and and then his helmet is removable. And I've seen some really cool poses where you can kind of get him down like in a sniper pose and stuff, because it's got like the gun has like the stand that you can so you can get him in a sniper pose. So he's really neat. Then I opened my Snake Eyes and Timber. I got the one with the all white Timber, the newer one.
Okay.
And the Snake Eyes looks better than I thought he would. Like in pictures, this version looked a lot more gray than black. But in hand, I think it looks really good. So yeah, I like that one. And then the last Joe that I got for this week, or that I opened this week, because I got a shit ton next to the door, is Sarge. And dude, I had the Valaverse one. This one's way better. I mean, it's just light years better. I thought the Valaverse one was cool. This one is like so much better. So yeah, if you want a Sarge and you're trying to decide between the Vala or the classified, dude, get the classified. So it's amazing. So that's it for my Joes. And then for Poxus, opened up the wizard. I switched out the body. So I saw a couple people switching out the underneath the robes with Marvel Legends. So this is actually a Hawkeye underneath. So there you go. You can't really see his legs when the robes are covering it, but it's a Hawkeye figure underneath so that I can now use that body for, gnome or goblin or whatever. But yeah, he's cool. Purple gang. It's got the cool effects. His staff is really neat. I love the expressive face. I hope we get more expressive faces like that. He's out of the 4 that I've opened, he's the one that I'm the least impressed with so far. But he's still a Mythic Legion, so he's still cool. Then I opened up Tharnog, which this is the one I was looking forward to most. And I am still excited about this because I've got a bunch coming to, kind of make some like an orc an orc army, a brute army of orcs. But I mean, he was what I expected him to be. It wasn't like anything that I saw on him blew me away or it was super impressive. I mean, it's a, basic bare arm, bare chest guy with a bunch of fur. There's nothing like super ridiculous about him. Even in the paint job or anything like that. He's just, he's an orc. So he is what it is, but his staff is really cool. I don't have him with his pauldrons on because I think you get better articulation without the pauldrons. But yeah, he's neat. He's just the only thing with any of these, I didn't have anything break. So if anybody's wondering if anything broke, nothing broke. The only thing with this figure here, his arms were a little bit loose. So I took some of that heat shrink tubing and I popped his arms off, put some heat shrink tubing on, heated it up, popped them back in, and now they're like super tight. But that's really the only thing that I had. I didn't, like I said, nothing broke, no major defects or anything like that, but just kind of tightened up those arms on there.
What was loose? The shoulders or the elbows?
Yeah, the shoulders, where it goes into the shoulder. Okay. So I popped them off. Like I said, put that heat shrink tubing, pop them back on. I've heard some people say that their arms are like falling out. It definitely wasn't. Mine was not falling out, but it wasn't like I would get it into a certain pose and then it might move down a little bit. It just wasn't holding the pose that I wanted it to. So I just tightened that up a little bit and then it was good.
Gravity must not be as heavy where you are.
Yeah, it must be. It's probably the gravity. I'm a little further from the equator. So then I got Azahazar here. Like I said, I do want to see if I can get some sort of, whether it's a battery powered or some sort of black light that I can put in the DTOF because I just think he looks so much cooler with that black light on him from seeing the pictures and stuff. The thing I'm most impressed with on him on the face, like where the cracks in the light green are, it's like engraved into his head. So it's like in like it goes in. And so it really looks like this like lava-y, like I don't know, like this magic is just like almost exploding out of his face. And then the lines on his chest and stuff, the paintwork is just amazing. And typically ogre scales, like I don't move them around or articulate them that much because I kind of worry about it. But this has got like this new ball joint system, like on the legs. And I think he's really good as far as articulation. Like this for an ogre scale guy, like this thing has got some good articulation. And even with the hooves, like sometimes in the past I've had problems with figures with hooves. Nah, man, you can get this guy in pretty good poses. And the only thing I did do, I shortened up his staff because it comes it's like super long. And I liked it a little bit shorter here. But yeah, it is cool with the blue and yellow orb on it. And so he's really neat. But he was the one that I was expecting to like the most, like just as a standard figure, not to customize, but just as a, figure. But the one that blew me away, and I was totally not expecting this, because when I bought this wave, I did not even want this figure. I figured I wasn't even going to keep him in my collection. That is Kalazir the Djinn. This thing is amazing.
He was asleep.
It is a total sleeper. I didn't expect that I was going to need any of this. I know Jeremy said this one was ordered in much lower numbers than some of the other figures. If you did not order one of these, get it quick. This is going to be the one that sells out. I'm just telling you guys right now, this is going to be the one that sells out, and it's going to be hard to get. This thing is amazing. It's the new brute scale. So it's very unique in that way. And then just the paint on it, like you don't realize until you get it in your hand, like how unique that paint job is with the different highlights and shading and stuff. He's got like actual metal earrings. Like it's actual metal. It's not just like painted to look metallic. His soft goods are amazing. You got that smoke thing around his leg that you can make go right into the lamp. So it looks like he's being summoned out of the lamp. This super unique sword. Yeah, he's fantastic. I did have to put some kikis on his ankles because there's like I don't know if it's unique with the ankles for the brute scale, but it was like I couldn't get it in the right spot. Like it was one spot was too far forward and one spot was too far back. So to get it in the spot in the middle, it wouldn't kind of hold. So I put some kikis on there to tighten it up. But once again, no breakages, no problems or anything. Just kind of tightened up that ankle joint a little bit. But this thing is absolutely gorgeous. I heard Dorklair say it could have been a figure obscura. I completely agree, which I think that's the highest praise you can give a figure. Because they put a lot of just parts and paint and hype into those figure obscura. This is as good as in any figure obscura that's been out. So just telling you guys, if you haven't picked up this one, get it because it's going to be gone quick. So
I've got mine on pre-order at Uncle Bob's.
There you go. So that is everything for the week. A lot of Joes, some Poxes. I still have some more Poxes to order or to open next week. A bunch of Joes to open. So I'll have stuff for next week too. But yeah, that's what I got. See, Eddie says get an LED strip that has black light setting. Okay, because I like what I've got in my detox now are LED strips. I didn't know that they had like LED ones, so I'll have to see if I can. Maybe the brand that I've already got, maybe they've got LED versions, and I can use the same wiring I've already got and just plug it in. That'd be killer. So,
excuse me.
And let's see. Van said he was my most anticipated figure, but turned out to be. I think he's talking about the Tharnog. I think he had some looseness on his Tharnog, with like in the waist and stuff. But I definitely didn't have that. So I think there's, some people are having problems, some people aren't. But if it's just looseness, if it's nothing broken, like there's definitely ways you can fix that stuff up. Try some.
The only issue that I had from the whole wave was that Tharnog's pauldrons, the holes are too big. So they're not called. Yeah, it's pauldrons. They'll just fall out. Like the holes were just too big for them. But other than that, like the whole wave was good for me.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't have any other problems.
In a line like this with all of the modularity and stuff, like if you don't know how to tighten up a joint or something, like, I mean, I've got double-sided tape, I've got tank bond, I've got heat shrink tubes, I've got kikis, like, you know what I'm saying? Like this stuff, you're popping it in and out constantly. Like you need to have some sort of solution. I don't care what your go-to solution is. You can have whatever go-to you want, but you should have some sort of solution for loose joints because it's going to happen at some point. Just FYI. So, let's see. What is Van
tight
say?
Joints. You should probably talk to Greg.
Yeah, that's true. He probably rolls them real tight. Not just falling apart. I just thought he didn't look as good as the rest of the figures in the wave. The Robin Williams tribute is definitely the sleeper. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I will say, like, I'm excited for the Tharnog because of the brute scale, not because he offers anything spectacular. he's a basic orc. It's not anything super special. But I love that size. I think that size is going to be cool because I always thought orcs should be a little bit bigger. Kind of like I know Jesse has talked about like the Minotaurs and stuff, being 1.0, and like it'd just be a lot cooler if they were, like brute scale or ogre scale or whatever. Same kind of thing I think with orcs. I just having a little bit more variety in those I think would be better. So
Joe, was that I Stand Alone? What was going on there?
Well, not alone, because I use Kaiser doll stands on all of my Legions figures, and that solves a lot of issues. It's just having a stand to hold them up. I mean, people talk about figure dives and things like that. Like, I'd legit have to have an earthquake for my figures to fall over. It just solves a lot of issues. So,
and I think this was one of
Kaiser doll stands. They're not that
those
expensive.
are good, and then the Mythic Legion ones are good. And I think this is one of the waves that they did.
I use those on all
fans with this wave. So some people have those coming in as well. So.
Yeah, I use the Mythic Legions ones for all the ogre scale figures because they fit ogre scale figures perfectly. I didn't find a Kaiser stand that fit just right for the ogre scale, but the Mythic Legions ones are perfect for those. So
yeah, I know Len uses a bunch of those Kaiser ones, like just for like 1.0s and 2.0s at the show. So
if you don't use a Kaiser, you might get a Wilhelm Scream.
Ooh, I don't know. That went over my head. So
Same.
Yeah, Brian too.
Kaiser Wilhelm.
No.
No.
I would have more recognized if you went with a Usual Suspects reference. Did a
He was
Kaiser
the German
Soze
emperor
but
and king of Prussia. Kind of involved in the First World War.
I still love you, Jesse. I'm just saying.
yeah. I mean, if you say so. Cool. Yeah, you're too smart for us. You got to dumb down your jokes.
That's not.
All right.
Hey,
so
check out this Emperor Palpatine figure without his head and robes.
Let me move you over here and biggin you. Okay.
Like,
it looks like Jedi Luke.
It's crazy articulated for freaking Palpatine. Like,
is that Black Series?
Yeah, it was like $10 at Ollie's, and I was like, I'll pay $10 for the soft goods, and I'm like, oh, I can use this as one of my wizard replacements.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
you saw him fight in the prequels, right? He's actually just an old ninja. So,
but like I had it like I had him balanced on one foot, like he can do the Naruto thing, whatever the hell that is, Anyway, sorry, that's it. Sorry,
No, you're cool. No apologies. All right. Do we want to go into the event horizon? And then we'll get into the adventure party and then hit up this week in theaters at the end. Does that work? Sure, Curtis. All right. Event horizon.
Yeah, Curtis.
Jesse, you want to explain to us what the hell that is?
So we were talking in the OffWorld chat, and we had an idea for a new segment. Why is my computer?
I think Sean had an idea, but he tried to give the credit to Dooch, right? Is that what happened, Sean?
Dooch actually had the idea where we always talk about going backwards and what was in theaters on the week that we record. But then he's like, well, what about if we do like trailers for upcoming movies and we talk about that? And in the case of this past week with the Super Bowl and everything, we had more than a few trailers that came out that could be of interest to talk about. And then on top of that, there was a reveal on Valentine's Day of who our new Fantastic Four in the Marvel, the MCU will be. So, it's on the horizon. They're out there. All of these new events, as it were.
And
so we can talk about them this way.
I threw out Event Horizon because it's the the outer edge of like a black hole. And since OffWorld out in
Yep.
space, it just seemed like, on the horizon, coming soon, Event Horizon. It just nothing to do with the movie, which is nightmare fuel.
I've never actually seen it. Are you saying nightmare fuel because it's just a bad movie, or is it actually like terrifying?
I'm not going to
Oh,
say
no.
it's a bad movie. It scared the shit out of me when I saw it.
Okay. All right.
It's a
I had a
good
whole
movie.
story.
Yeah.
So you would not recommend it?
I wouldn't, but I had a traumatic experience watching it.
Gotcha. Anybody here recommend Event Horizon?
Never saw.
I think Joe just did.
Me.
Oh, all right.
One of my favorite movies.
Really?
Second that.
Oh, okay. All right. Got it. So 2 yeses, a no from Jesse. What do you say, Sean?
Never saw it.
Never saw it. Neither have I. Okay.
Short version of the story, I was driving to college in Missouri for my first semester at college. So this was the first time driving across the country by myself with a triptych to guide me. Like the old AAA flippable book, like no GPS, no cell phone, nothing. And I got to Terre Haute, Indiana. So it was about 10 hours from home. And I was like, I need to sleep. I can't keep going another. I think I had like 5 or 6 hours to go the next day. So I was like, Terre Haute, I know the name of this town. So I pulled off, found like the Hotel 6, and it was right in the parking lot of a movie or the mall. Walked over to the mall because I've been in the car all day. I was, hey, is there a movie theater here? Walked around the mall, got something to eat. They're like, yeah, it's out back. You got to walk through the parking lot. So did all that stuff, go to the movie theater. I was going to go see Spawn because Spawn was out the same weekend as Event Horizon. So this is fall 97.
Garbage.
That was a shitty movie.
Yeah.
I saw that in
And
the
the
theater.
girl in the box office convinced me to see Event Horizon. I was like, oh, I forgot that was coming out. Because again, like internet was a thing, but it wasn't as it wasn't like checking times. Especially I didn't anyway. So I was like, okay. I was like, when's the next show? And she's like, oh, it starts at, I think, like 11 o'clock. I was like, okay. So I just sat in the lobby for like 2 hours waiting for the movie to start instead of walking back to my car or the hotel room, which was almost a mile walk at that point because it was that far behind. So I sit there eating this giant bag of Reese's Pieces and finally going to see this movie at like 11 o'clock. By the time I get, and it's the way it was pitched was like a horror, like a ghost stories in space. Was the way the trailers made it look. So kind of spooky, but in space. I was like, okay, it's kind of like Alien, it's got like creepy vibe, aesthetic, all this stuff, but it's in space. So it's futuristic and everything. And the whole premise is the ship, instead of like punching a hole through like a wormhole through space, it like traveled to hell. So everybody got possessed. And they're like screaming in Latin and pulling their eyes out. And hey, it's 20 something years old.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
2 people.
I'm not going to spoil the end of it. I'm not going to spoil the ending of it, but like it's it's a horror, and it seeing that alone, growing up in a really that's not even this show. What is that?
I changed it to our Wednesday one shot.
Growing up in a religious home and everything, that it freaked me out because it's all about like demonic and possession and all this stuff. And
In space.
In space, which terrifies me. The concept of space, like it fascinates me, but it terrifies me. Like the ocean, fascinating. I don't want to get in a submarine. I don't even want to go out on a boat if I don't have to.
Especially if the submarine is controlled by a PlayStation controller.
Yeah.
Oh.
Fucking crazy.
So I had to walk back to my hotel room through the empty mall parking lot at like 1 a.m. So I'd been up all day driving, went and did this. I was freaked the hell out and I couldn't fall asleep. The only thing I could find to watch on TV was some weird like psychological thriller where someone was going to see a counselor, a therapist, and they were doing hypnosis. And like the person was falling in love with them, so like they kept like manipulating them under hypnosis and all this stuff. It was just the weirdest stuff, and I was like, well, I guess this is my life now. I'm never gonna sleep again.
Is that the one with McAvoy?
No.
Okay, he's in one like that. Okay. So basically, you got very like you got
it's tripping me
PTSD
out.
with that whole event.
Yeah, because like walking back like a mile through like just empty warehouse and parking lots, and I was like after seeing that movie, I'm like every shadow is coming after me. And
Gotcha. So not that event horizon, but
No.
we're going to talk about
Lower.
stuff coming up that we're excited for.
Yeah.
So, all right. So what was the first one you wanted to? I know you were kind of talking about this, Sean. What was the first one that you wanted to discuss?
Well, I mean the closest to now one that we talked about was yesterday. We got the X-Men 97 trailer finally after what has it been like 2 years almost of not having anything other than a few character designs that we've gotten to look at. So,
which I mean, I didn't know this before Revelation, but going through that whole thing, like it was kind of similar thing. Like it took a long time. Apparently, animation takes a long time to like put a series together, which I didn't know. So it kind of makes sense what you're saying. But okay, go ahead. So we get the 97 trailer.
Yeah, we got the X-Men 97 trailer, and apparently I thought when you brought up Revelation, I thought you were going to go here because it's basically touted almost as the same thing as Revelation, where they're saying it's the successor to the original series from Fox Kids back in the 90s. It will be a spiritual successor of sorts, kind of like what they build Revelation as and everything. I mean, visually, I was actually a little surprised the animation didn't look quite as clean as, say, What If, because What If has that certain style where it's almost it's almost like straddling the line of it looking almost like a 3D animation, but it still has that 2D foot still in there and all that. And instead, this felt legit like maybe 5 years later they would have gone in and started working on this and making the art look as close as they could to the originals that the kids grew up with in the 90s,
minus some butts and boobs.
Well, they've definitely taken some curves away, but for some people, I don't know if it matters or not. I mean, Will White was making such a big fuss about Cyclops, and I'm like, really? The dude's name was Slim all these years. Why the hell does it matter? But and then there was a big issue online. I actually was listening to a movie review show earlier today, and when I posted it on the Legend Daddies Facebook group yesterday, Jeremy DeWitt actually was the first to bring it up. He's like, what the hell's up with Wolverine's voice? Because they give you one clip of Wolverine talking in it, and that's it.
And I've seen some people complaining about that, but it's the same guy, right? He's just older.
It is.
So maybe he's, I don't know, maybe his voice has changed over the years, or maybe he just doesn't. But I didn't notice it being way off, but I did see a lot of people complaining about it.
I mean, I didn't watch the show religiously. I'm sure there's people out there who are huge fans. I am taking more the stance of Jesse on this one, where I didn't grow up with it. I was really immersed in the comics, and when I saw the show, I always felt like it was Cliff Notes X-Men versus what you could read in the books and the artwork in the books at the time. To me, it was knocking it out of the park, and it's like the cartoon was okay, but when you compare that to Jim Lee or Will Spertasio or Mark Silva, it's like, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm going to stick to the books on this one. But yeah, for me personally, I know there was an issue when the original Transformers live actions came out. People were really pissed they didn't get Frank Welker to reprise Megatron. And then when you listen to his voice now, you can definitely tell the difference between Frank Welker 1985 Megatron to Frank Welker 2005 at that point, or 2006 Megatron. So in the case of this, it does not surprise me. Alan Oppenheimer didn't sound like Alan Oppenheimer in Revelation, and he took over Moss Man for that one. And if you would have told, like, if I didn't know that was him, I'd been like, I have no idea, but that dude sounded freaking old. So voice actors, their voices can change. This is what 30 years later.
we've been doing the Revolution reviews, and
Yeah.
Shatner at 93 sounds freaking amazing.
He does. Snake in the
You know.
grass Shatner. That's what I'm
Yeah.
gonna call him from now on.
Shatner's freaking awesome. Okay.
But
So
But yeah,
overall,
so-
what do you think? Is it something you're gonna watch? Is it something you're excited for? Are you gonna check it out reluctantly? Like what give us a thumbs up or thumbs down. Is this did anything you see interest you or not?
Well, I gotta be honest. The thing that got me was like Gambit charging up Wolverine's claws and him riding him like Seabiscuit in the bow. I'm like, that is the dumbest thing I think I've seen in like the last 3 years. I'm sorry, it just is. I said it in the group yesterday. Fastball special, Colossus Wolverine, yes. Gambit riding Wolverine like Seabiscuit. What? You know, it just I don't know. Like I will probably give it a shot because the thing is, right now Marvel doesn't have as much going on for it as the movies were, 5 years ago or whatever, pre-quarantine. And I'm at the point now where I'm just like, just give me X-Men finally. Give me Fantastic Four in a good Fantastic Four. Those are the ones that you're going to get me to the theater to see. And this is almost like, okay, it's dipping your toe into what I'm eventually wanting to see on the big screen, but I'm not owned to it like some fans might be. It'll just be like, I'll give it a shot, see what happens or whatever. I'm not like, oh my God, I cannot wait. I will say that.
So back in the day in the 90s, I mean, I was a fan of that X-Men cartoon, probably not as much as Jesse. I know Jesse absolutely loved it. No, seriously.
There's the look.
That was my X-Men. Like, I didn't read Marvel comics at that time. I was a DC guy. So I didn't read Marvel comics, never have, other than a couple trade paperbacks later on in life. But yeah, X-Men, the cartoon was my X-Men. So this is probably the thing that I've been most excited about in terms of anything comic book related in probably the last 3 years. Because Marvel has really gone downhill. Like there's not been anything super amazing the last couple of years. DC in the movies have sucked for the last forever. So there's been nothing exciting in terms of comic book characters to look forward to. So when you posted that yesterday, I shot a load. It was
don't
messy.
let Gambit touch you because you're going to shoot something
messy.
else. But yeah,
Gambit was riding me and charging me up, and man, I'm super excited. So
what's going to happen there? Because that's going to be like like scatter round or whatever you call it, buckshot, whatever, shotgun cartridge, so but it's going to be like the gun is exploding through the animal at the same time, because all Wolverine's little bones are going to go flying out. He'll come back together because they've OP'd his healing factor to ridiculous ends, but it's going to be like all his like flesh and guts explode out and all of his like
I don't know. I don't care. I think it's going to be awesome. So thumbs up for me. Joe, we're going around the horn. We started with Sean. It's me. Joe, it's your turn. Yes or no? 97 X-Men.
I mean, I read the comics and watched the cartoon in the 90s. And each of them were a very different form of entertainment. The cartoon was kind of like abridged comic stories. They touched on elements of the stories that were in the comics, but they were really short and not executed fantastic, but it was also pretty colors moving on a screen. So
I like Sean's clip notes, version. That's a good explanation of it. It's like
They tried. I'll give them that. They tried, and they had the source material, but when you watch the execution of it, there was this like, oh man, they go harder on this in the comic book by like tenfold, and it's way more compelling at times. But yeah, you got the essence of what the book was about by seeing it that way, at least.
Right. But I also don't remember much of it. That was a long time ago, so I'd probably have to go back and watch the series, I think again, to really enjoy the new cartoon, just because I don't really remember it. So, Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I'm not
He's middle of the
opposed to
road.
it, but
Okay.
I'm not excited. I'm middle of the
Okay.
road.
All right, Jesse, you're over the moon, I'm sure.
Let's let Ryan go first.
Okay, Jesse's so upset that he can't talk about it yet. Go ahead, Ryan.
So I'm happy other people are happy. I was more of a casual fan, I guess you could say. It wasn't like this wasn't even on my radar. Like I've heard about it, and I still was a DC fanboy. I mean, I'm happy it's happening. So for everyone who's happy that it's happening, thumbs up, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even use that pair of boxer briefs anymore. So, all right, Jesse, have at it.
Okay, I'm gonna go a little Curtis heel and play super heel. I am like Ryan, like I'm happy for the people that are happy for this. Like, I don't want to yuck on your yum or
That
rain
is
on
not
your
super
parade or
heel.
anything.
Come on.
No. I'm getting to that. I just wanted to preface this first. I'm going to announce my heel turn in advance, so you know this is just me playing it up for the sake of playing it up.
Okay.
At the end of the day, I don't really care because I don't have to watch it. Like Sean said, I did not enjoy the original one as a kid because I was so into the comics at the time that like it's like I imagine it's like going somewhere and eating the best handmade pizza you could ever have. Like perfect balance of sauce and cheese, perfect crust, not too thick, not too thin, a little bit crispy, just the perfect pizza. Sharing it with friends, like, oh, this pizza is great. And then everybody else, and you're the only people who know that this pizza is, right? And then, they start serving frozen blocks of pizza at the school lunch, and everybody's so excited for the crappy lunch pizza. And it's like, but it's not even, it's not the same thing. That's not even real cheese. But
Dude,
they're excited about it.
Lunch pizza was fire.
Now
Dude.
that's a bad example because like it's really hard. It's really hard to ruin pizza.
Mhm.
Like almost any pizza is at least edible. There's been a couple times where like I can't eat this,
especially when you get it in the middle of a shitty school day. So
well, yeah, at school it was fine, but I'm just saying if you knew what the best tasting pizza was and you wanted to tell people about it, but they didn't want to hear about it because you're a dork or a nerd or whatever, but then they start serving this crap at lunch and everybody's so excited about it. They're like, yeah, pizza's the best. It's like,
okay. Can I jump in real quick? Just I've got to do a take on this though, because the pizza that you're talking about that's so good requires reading, which is a lot of work. So it's like if I have to walk 20 miles to get that pizza versus one that I could have delivered.
No.
Yeah, it might not taste as good, but guess what? I get an idea of what pepperoni is and what crust is and what sauce is, and I don't have to walk 20 miles to get it. So,
like I said, I'm sharing my experience. I'm trying to relate my experience.
Because you don't mind working for it.
No, I'm just saying that's how I experienced. If I had been like a lot of other people, like I'm glad that cartoon happened because that introduced a lot of people to something I love.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it wasn't great. We scared Joe away.
Yeah, Joe left. He didn't like you going against lunch pizza.
But like, look, I liked lunch pizza because I didn't know really better. The only better pizza I knew at that point in my life was like Pizza Hut. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying as an example, but like it's, I'm happy for everybody else that got to experience it. And that's what introduced them to the comics, or at least the characters. But I feel like that set a bad precedent. And this is where it really turns for me. It ingrained in so much of the pop culture zeitgeist that Rogue and Gambit were supposed to be a thing that was barely a thing in the comics at that point, that has become like the default norm, like, you know, Lois and Clark, Peter and MJ, you know, Rogue and X-Men, like that's, or Rogue and Gambit, not not the entire team. That's a different movie, I think.
So basically, you're
And
such a big Rogue fan that seeing her with Gambit ruins the series for you. Is that what you're saying? And so you're taking it out on the entire series now?
No, because it became such a pop culture thing that people who are now writing the X-Men comics grew up with that they've made it a thing in the comics, and it just didn't make any sense to me in the comics because the way they did it was just kind of like, anyway. But you know, as far as this new series, I watched the trailer. I was going to go in cautiously optimistic and be like, all right, I can set aside my differences. It's the same studio behind What If. Even if it doesn't look exactly like What If, I saw the production. I was like, those character designs look pretty good. The art style looked good in the character designs they put out. But when I watched the trailer, something in like the frame rate or the way it's animated and seeing it move, it just felt weird and clumsy to me. And maybe it was just my what do you call my phone, you know, whatever. But
In general, I think there's something, because when I watched it, I saw it maybe 2 or 3 times. It feels like they're trying to recapture the hand rendering way that it was, and that was choppy. But I'm also like, that almost is stupid to do now, because you know what we can do now. And having it have that retro feel even within the choppiness, to me, is like, that's almost just pandering at this point. Like, Revelation and Revolution could go with some really interesting animation, really kinetic animation at times. And I feel like this is almost them just going, we have to stay here. This is all that we can do. This is what the fans want, which makes me go like, you're kind of, if somebody like me who would be interested in seeing the visuals of it, maybe I'm looking at it just going, this is not, the quality feels weird in that way.
yeah.
So update, Joe lost power to his whole neighborhood. He's trying to get back on.
Oh,
his
no.
phone, just FYI. Yeah, I mean, Sean, I respect your opinion. Ryan, I respect your opinion. Jesse, I think that you're just jealous because Gambit has taken in Rogue instead of you. And I think because you didn't land Rogue and Gambit did, you're taking it out on the entire series. And it's sour apples, man. So
no, because I've tried to go back. I tried watching it on Disney Plus last year after talking with Matt Rod and you guys. I'm like, all right, I'll give it another shot. Maybe I have some, you know, prejudice or chip on my shoulder, but I started watching. I'm like, I don't even. I thought I did not enjoy the voice acting. I didn't enjoy the animation style. The things they tried to do. The fact that this came out within a couple years of Gargoyles, and I thought the animation on Gargoyles was a million times better.
Friend to friend, can I offer you just a small piece of advice? Have you
Sure.
tried developing a Cajun accent? Because I think maybe that would be the thing.
Look, Rogue's not real. Like, I don't want to actually date Rogue. Like,
yeah, but I'm
not that delusional.
But if you had that Cajun accent, you could probably get anybody you wanted. I'm saying it's that good. Like,
that's a lot of responsibility. I don't want that.
I don't know. Maybe move down to the bayou for a little bit.
If I pick up a Cajun accent, I'm going to sound like that guy, like the line coach or whatever in Waterboy that nobody understands.
Or you could end up being a dreadnought. Like, I mean, I'm just
You're not
saying.
making this any better for me.
I'm saying exactly. Yeah, what G says. Come on, right here. Like that's it.
All right, come across sounding like
Pepe Le
Foghorn
Pew.
Leghorn.
All right, so I'm very excited for 97. Everybody else is kind of, but all right. We talked about Fantastic Four. So Fantastic Four casting. Somebody's going to have to lead this discussion because I don't know who 3 of the 4 of these people are. So who wants to take this?
I guarantee you know them and you just don't know you know them.
Okay. So who wants to take it?
Maybe not one of them. Sean, do you care if
No.
I lead off on this one?
Yeah, go for it because I did the other one.
So, Marvel Studios made this awesome announcement with a kind of 60s style, almost like greeting card magazine cover looking thing, where on Valentine's Day, where they announced the cast.
Hey,
of
yeah, we got
Fantastic
Joe
Four.
back.
Joe's back.
He looks
Kind
like
of.
he's going to tell us a scary story. Like the flashlight up from the bottom.
That's like Blair Witch up in there.
Yeah. Let's
The
do
mood
this.
lighting.
Let's do this. Ooh. All right. Go ahead, Jesse.
And
I thought
I
we
don't know
were
who the
doing that.
artist was, but the art was great. It definitely has like a 60s vibe to it. They kind of have like the Marvel Studios banner across the top. It looks kind of like, stuff you'd see at like an old skating rink or something. And they announced that Pedro Pascal is playing Reed Richards, Vanessa Kirby is playing Sue Storm, Ibn Moss Backrack is playing Ben Grimm, and Joseph Quinn is playing Johnny Storm. Now, if you're wondering who anyone in that list besides Pedro Pascal is, Vanessa Kirby has been in a couple of the Mission Impossible movies, the more recent ones. She was in the blockbuster, not saying it's a great movie, but she was in Hobbs and Shaw. She's been in The Crown. She was in Napoleon. Lots of other stuff. But she's a British actress. When I saw her in the first time in Mission Impossible, like I was completely like riveted with her performance. Like she's not in it a lot, but I was like, she's really cool. I really like what this character's doing.
Okay.
Eben Moss Backrack playing Ben Grimm. Curtis, you would have known him I know you watched Andor. You probably don't remember it and fell asleep when he was in it, but he was one of the resistance fighters that Andor meets up with, like on that
I
kind of
did
like
look up pictures of these folks, and yeah, I did recognize them, but okay.
And he plays like the science tech guy on the Punisher series, his Micro or whatever. Yeah. And Joseph Quinn, if you watched the last season of Stranger Things, he was Eddie Munson, the guitar, the D&D heavy metal nerd.
Master of Puppets, dude.
Yeah. So I'm personally, I am super stoked for this. I think this is a great cast. I'm not saying I've liked all the things I've seen these people in, but I've bought into their characters and believed who their characters are and everything I've seen them in. So, which for a couple of them is not a lot, but I think, yeah. And I'm not sure if the movie's going to be set in the 60s and they're going to do some kind of like time warp thing where they're up in space and they come back and it's a different time, or they're out of a different reality. Because like what in Planet of the Apes, the astronaut goes up into space and comes back to Earth hundreds of years later or whatever. So I don't know if it's going to be that kind of thing or what, but I'm really excited by this cast.
All right. Who's next? Ragon, you want to go? What do you got any thoughts on the casting?
I mean, he said everything that I could have said. I think it's a great choice. I think Pedro Pascal is really going to kill that role as Reed Richards, and Eddie Munson, Jesus Christ. What is his actual name again?
Joseph Quinn.
I think that's a perfect choice because he kind of can strike me as like that party boy, Johnny Blaze type character. I mean, Jesse, thanks for taking everything that I could possibly say.
I hardly talked about any of their.
I can only echo what he just said.
All right.
I held back.
Well, we'll go to Sean then. Sean, what are your thoughts on these folks?
So, as crazy as this is, the one that for some reason is the sore thumb for me is Pedro. in my own head, and I love Pedro. I mean, my wife knows I got a man crush on the man because ever since Jesse had me watch Mandalorian, if she tells me Pedro's in anything, I'll sit through it because I'm like, oh, it's Pedro. I love Pedro. But it's one of the first times where I saw him cast as something, and I'm like, he's a good actor. I'm not ever going to say he's not a good actor and he couldn't pull off Reed Richards. But when I think in my head Reed Richards, I don't think Pedro Pascal. Like there's been other roles that, like when they said Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man, for instance, the minute they said that, I go, I gotta see this. That is electric. That's freaking nuts. I gotta see what he'll do with this because here's this amazing actor and they're putting him in this role that I could give two shits about, and it turned out to be what it turned out to be. Chris Evans's Cap. I was like, I didn't think that would even be a thing. And once I saw the first Cap movie, I'm like, oh my God, I can't not think of Chris Evans's Cap now. So, in that way, it's like Pedro to me, he is somebody that comes to the role already like I'm Pedro Pascal. Chris Evans still didn't have that thing yet, Robert Downey Jr. already did, but they needed somebody like him. Same with Chris Hemsworth, he came to the part and boom, he's Thor, and you see him and he's Thor, So it's like they're doing the roundabout thing with him where it's here's a name, everybody knows Pedro from one thing or another. And it's like, I don't see him as Reed the way that I'm thinking he will be. And the other thing that gets me is I really hope they get him to shave his mustache for once, because the guy looks the same in almost everything I've seen him in. And I kind of feel Reed deserves to be a clean shaven guy to start at least. And then as he gets into things, beard and mustache, fine, whatever, because we've seen both versions in the comics. I don't have any knowledge of the guy who's going to play Ben because I haven't seen. He's also in The Bear, I think, too, if I remember right. I haven't watched anything of that, unfortunately. I never watched Andor, so I don't have much with him. But a lot of people have been like, "Oh man, he's who they wanted," and I'm like, "Okay, I'm glad people are happy over him." For me, I think the one that has me probably the most excited is Joseph Quinn, because Stranger Things, he was amazing in that show. And I haven't seen him in anything since then that I'm aware of, at least. And I've been wondering what he's going to do next. And now him being in the Marvel universe is automatically like, I got to see this, and I think he'll be interesting as Johnny. I think he showed he has that range of being a hothead in Stranger Things, and I like that he's going to have to take the celebrity turn maybe, because they are the celebrities of the Marvel universe if they do it that way. So yeah, we'll see.
So my take is that, like, for not like side, like your B-list comic book characters, but for your main ones, I prefer relatively unknown or underutilized actors, like, because I don't want to go in and see somebody and go, oh, that's this celebrity that I know from all these other things, and they're immediately recognizable as that other character. So I was kind of hoping, like, the three of the castings, are kind of like that. Everything but Pedro is kind of one of those where, I recognize them, but I'm not going to see them on screen and go, I don't believe them as this character because they've been so iconic as this other character. If they were going to go with a well-known actor for Mr. Fantastic, I think they should have stayed with Krasinski. Like, I would have preferred to see Krasinski in that role than Pedro myself. And if they chose not to go with Krasinski and they went with, some relatively unknown or underutilized actor, I would have been cool with that too. I don't like that casting at all with Pedro. I mean, I'm sure, like you guys said, he's going to kill it. He's going to do amazing, but I'm just going to always know that that's Pedro. It's not like he's playing a superhero that's wearing a mask, or there's going to be a lot of CGI on his face or anything like that. So, like, you're going to know who he is. And I don't know. I don't like that aspect of it. The Sue Storm and Johnny Storm, I think those castings are fine. I think the Johnny Storm probably is going to be, or the Johnny Blaze is going to be, like, amazing. I think he'll do great with that role. The Ben Grimm one, I'm a little unsure about, because I don't know whether they're doing a straight up origin story for them again, which would be the third time that we've had a Fantastic Four origin, or if they're going to jump in and they're already going to be those characters. They're already going to be those characters, and that actor is really just doing the voice because everything else is going to be CGI'd. I have no problem with that actor. If they're doing an origin story and we're going to see this little skinny nobody be Ben Grimm before he turns into the thing, like I've never pictured Ben Grimm as this little tiny skinny guy, you know? So like that casting seems odd to me. Like, I don't know. I would have rather seen like the original Fantastic Four movie that they did, where they were using, what's that guy's name from the Shield?
Michael Chiklis.
Yeah, no, is that right?
Yeah, like
Yes.
he was Ben. Yeah,
yeah. I thought he was perfect, like as far as like, you know, acting ability and his look and overall, like I thought that was a great casting for that. So, like I said, I don't know what the movie is going to be. I don't know if they're starting in the past. I don't know if they're doing now. I don't know if they're doing an origin tale. I don't know if they're jumping into it. If he's not playing Ben Grimm, but he's just playing the thing, I'm cool with that. If he's playing Ben Grimm, I think that's a little freaking weird to me. But yeah, that's my take.
I mean,
Joe? Oh, go ahead, Jesse.
I was just gonna say, I mean, he's 6'1",
Yeah,
so he's not a little guy,
but he's not
and
a heavier guy.
Ben Grimm wasn't always a heavier guy. It depended on who drew him.
yeah.
That-
Kirby drew him
that's-
kind of husky, but
That's how I've always seen him. So
I mean, he normally looks like a normal guy. He might just be a little bulkier, like a boxer or something, but like the guy can put on weight, no problem.
mhm.
okay.
That's like people getting mad when they cast a blonde character to play a redhead or something like that. It's like they can
No,
throw a
that's
wig
not
or
the same
change
at
the
all.
hair.
But like body shape is totally different from a color hair. But okay,
Okay.
Joe.
Yeah, I'm not. I think the casting's fine. I'm more honestly concerned with what they do with the movie than who plays any of the characters. Like that last Fantastic Four movie that they did, I thought all the acting was fine. The movie's a dumpster fire, though. Like, it's just not a good movie. So I'm sure all the talent is fine. I don't watch a lot of TV or movies, so I don't really know where who most of the people are, but I'm sure they'll do a fine job. I just hope it's a good movie. You can get, it's like when they cast Anthony Hopkins as Odin. I thought that was a terrible idea. Like, that was not how I envisioned Odin, and he totally killed it.
Mhm.
They made it work really
Yeah,
well, I thought.
Yeah,
So
G mentioned in here, it's like when Keaton was cast as Batman, like, and I know a lot of people were pissed about that. And he
Right.
was a freaking amazing Batman.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, these are just first impressions, and I could be completely wrong, and this could be, but we're just talking about first impressions. My first impression was Pedro's too well known and too well recognized, and the other guy's too small. That was my first impression. So
yeah, I might be a little worried that they got Pedro Pascal because the movie maybe isn't going to be that great, and they wanted a big name attached to it. I don't know. I hope they do it well. I really like the Fantastic Four. I want it to be a good movie really badly.
yeah, I've
So-
never had a huge attachment to the Fantastic Four. But I know there's some people that like they absolutely love the Fantastic Four. So for those people, to your point, I hope they get a good movie. I hope it's
Mhm.
I don't know. So
Yeah,
Claire
I
says Pedro isn't as long and stretchy for me. That's CGI. That can be fixed. So
I think for me the hesitancy with Pedro in the role is he brings across a little more of he has done more action stuff, and so in that way, like having somebody, for instance, like Miles Teller be Reed, I could look at that and go, okay, he looks like somebody that he would want to fight somebody with his mind and his intellect. versus a physicality to him, you know. And I think that's part of it. So an actor is chosen for a role because they feel the person that cast them is probably looking at them and going, they still can do X, Y, or Z that we need done, and they're bringing their name to it and whatever. So it's like on that front, I'm like, I'm not gonna try to poke holes into it, but that was my initial reaction. And then the other thing, like you were saying, we don't know if it's the past, we don't know if it's now or whatever. The initial artwork that presented them to us, the one that Jesse was describing earlier, it has me really hoping that they go retro with this one, because the only other Marvel movie that has done that was Cap, the first Avenger. And that was one of my favorite Marvel movies for the longest time. It still is, because I love that they just embraced World War II. They let it be about him becoming that hero through the war and the effect he had for the troops throughout the war. And they had even the old school chamber for him to get into to get the Vita rays to pop out as now he's like freaking He-Man and all that stuff. And I felt like they did that really well in that movie. So I really want to see the 50s or the 60s, and I'm really hoping they do the space race and having them trying to do something before the Russians or however it was. And the artwork though makes me go, I kind of get the impression it might be the 60s through the entire movie if they do it, because they're showing them in that era in that artwork. It feels very much like retro. And that makes me go like, that's kind of cool. They could do the Cap thing again, where it's like they go to the negative zone or something and they're never heard from again. And then all of a sudden, boom, they show back up now with a threat coming after them or something, you know, Annihilus or Galactus or whatever. And that could be pretty cool. It all depends how they do it. But
yeah, I mean, speaking of 50s or 60s, another problem that I have is, Pedro's 48, and they just announced this casting. It's probably going to be a couple more years before we get a movie. He's going to be 50. This is the start of, like, we've been waiting for Fantastic Four. We've been waiting for X-Men to be introduced into this since they bought out Fox. And like, you're starting with him already at 48. A lot of your Avengers characters that you had through phase 1 and phase 2 are starting to be phased out because they're getting too old. Starting with your main character of that franchise, the Fantastic Four franchise, being 48 years old, I don't know. I just wish they would have gone with somebody younger, maybe a little bit less known, and that maybe had a little bit more longevity in that role.
The thing about that for me though is they always made Reed have that gray hair at his temples for as long as I can remember. And that always gave me that dad vibe about it. So the fact that they are having him be as old as he is now doing it, there's a part of me going, that makes sense. Like Johnny is somebody
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but in reality, like, we don't get these like back to back to back. Like, these movies don't happen, immediately. Like, it takes years to film these things. So, if we get one in 2 years, let's say they make a trilogy of Fantastic Four.
It's coming out next year.
The first one will be
if
in
they make a
2025,
trilogy, he's going to probably be close to 60 by the time it's done. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like these things happen, immediately. So starting at 48 is pretty fucking late in the game. If you're going to have a character, if it's just one movie, it's a one and done. Yeah, no problem. But if this character is going to be around for a while, I don't know. That's just a little up there. I would have preferred they go with somebody younger.
I can see your point, but I can also say it took 10 years for them to get to Endgame after Iron Man.
Right.
And so that's 13 or 14 movies right there in 10 years that they managed to make work to build all that stuff in.
But he wasn't in all of those.
No. And that's the thing. If they're trying to set them up and have it be maybe a Galactus thing in 10 years, he's only going to be in his mid to late 50s if they time those things right. So in that way, that doesn't bother me, because again, Reed is a character that I'm like, I kind of see him being an older sage person than, like for Reed not to have the They even went to the extent in the freaking Michael Chiklis Chris Evans version where after the cosmic rays, that's when he got the gray in his hair. And I was like,
Yeah.
really? We're going to have to actually accentuate that now? So in that way, it's like that is something that is tied to the character. He'll probably be gray a little bit at some point, and it kind of works for me in that way. Him being older and physically, all of it's gonna be CGI with him stretching. So it's like, whatever. It's more intellect and the charisma and selling that you can be one of the greatest minds on our planet. That's heavier to me than worrying about the age of them, because the age, I wouldn't say with everybody, but age comes with wisdom typically, and you kind of have that vibe with Reed.
Yeah, I'm not talking about like he's not going to be believable as the age he should be for Reed. I'm saying the actor, I don't know how much runway you're going to get with that actor down the road. Because you could get anybody, you could get a 30-year-old and color their hair and make them look older, but you could also get more years out of them then. You know what I'm saying? Like I think he'll look the part. They're going to make him look the part for sure. But, how long is he going to be doing these movies? I don't know.
For the record, John Krasinski is only 4 years younger than him, so that's not.
I would have rather they go with a nobody. So,
I mean, I think, like Sean was saying, I think with what Reed does, he's not the running into action physically. I think I mean, Harrison Ford's been doing Indiana Jones into his whatever 200 years old.
Yeah, and those are turning out great.
Granted, his action stuff isn't as good as they were in the original ones, but like he's the thing that holds up for me in those movies. The rest of the movie, the fourth one is garbage, but the last one, I still believed he was Indy. I hope I don't see any of these characters playing these superheroes into their 80s. But I mean, I hear what you're saying, and like I get they tried to do a younger cast with the last one, the Fan 4-tastic, and it where they would have had a lot longer runway, and none of the characters felt like the characters in that movie.
Well, they also had a dog shit script, so.
But I think all those actors were great, and the only one who even got close to behaving like the character they were portraying was Michael B. Jordan as Johnny Storm, like personality wise. The whole thing with Ben Grimm
was decent.
I meant the four heroes. Doom was okay, but like the four heroes, like the only reason you knew there was any chemistry between Sue and Reed is because they kept telling you, like saying things like, "Hey, I think I like you." Like their chemistry was so bland, and I've never seen Pedro get to play like a romantic lead, so I'm kind of intrigued to see what he does with that. Like because in Mando he's very stoic. In Last of Us, he's just taking care of Ellie. And the other thing is I've seen him; he's never really gotten to play that that character. So there'll be enough different stuff for me. And I hear what you're saying too. I can't watch most movies that Halle Berry's in without seeing Halle Berry. So I totally understand what you're saying, Curtis.
Salvage Cargo here says, if I remember reading correctly, the film takes place in the 60s and they're already an established team. If that is correct, don't know if it is, but if that is correct, then I'm pretty good with the casting. Because if they're already an established team, then the one dude's already going to be the thing. Pedro's already going to be older. Like, then I feel a lot better about the casting then.
And plus, don't forget, they got that Disney sweet de-aging process now. So,
yeah, that's true.
I mean, they can make Pedro look like he's 20-something and all fresh and dewy if they wanted to, I guess. But, and he would look less weird than Harrison Ford in his 80s trying to be 35 to 40 again and having that voice come out. And you're like, yeah, that's an old man telling you to get off his lawn. That is not a 40-year-old man talking right now.
Carlo says, I see Catwoman, and that is wrong, Carlo. Michelle Pfeiffer is Catwoman, so take that back.
Yeah,
I guess it depends what age you were when that Catwoman hit. That's all.
Yeah.
I thought she was great in John Wick 3, but like every other time, I believed that character, but every other time I see her, I just see Halle Berry cosplaying as whatever this character is supposed to be. And just because I didn't know, and I'm not arguing with you, I was like, what are the measurements and scale for astronauts?
Mhm.
Just so we know, between 4'10" and 6'3" are the height, the things, and between 110 to 209 pounds.
Yeah, but that's reality. That's not comic book. That's not. I'm just saying the image. If you just said, pictured Ben Grimm in your head and tell me what he looks like, it would not be that guy. But if they're already an established team and he's already then it doesn't matter, because it's going to be a CGI guy and he's just going to be voicing it. So, the other one we wanted to talk about was Deadpool 3, which I mean, it's just a teaser, so there's not a ton in there, but I do feel like, we just talked about how we've been waiting for them to do the Fantastic Four. We've been waiting for them to do X-Men and stuff. They obviously mentioned the Time Bureau and all that kind of stuff. It seems like that there's going to be a lot of breaking the fourth wall and manipulating the Marvel universe, which I think could lead to some cool shit. So I'm very excited for that one. I think it's going to be cool. But they didn't give me a whole lot in that teaser, but I already was ready to watch it anyway. So, Joe, what about you? Deadpool 3?
Is that the group that kidnapped him? Is that the group from Loki?
Yes.
Like the same people. So, I mean, that opens a lot of possibilities of crisscrossing and so. The thing about a Deadpool movie, especially with Ryan Reynolds being as involved in it as he is that it's going to be a fun movie.
Oh yeah.
Like, even if it doesn't change the game, like, I'm going to enjoy watching it. It's just going to be fun. There'll be a lot of laughs.
Well, and this is the first one with him actually in the MCU, so I'm sure he's going to take a lot of freaking cracks at, the MCU, maybe even Feige. It's going to be, it's going to be crazy. So
with the joke they got away with in the trailer,
to
be like, hey,
yeah,
I feel like they're gonna have some fun with that.
Yeah, and that how much time poking at each other, like they've been time. So, I think that the movie's going to be fun, no matter what. I'm going to enjoy it. So that's just my thoughts. And then hopefully it'll bring something that, it'll have some kind of impact on bringing, the X-Men in. Or something like that. I think would be fun. So,
yeah, definitely. Jesse,
I'll try not to be too long-winded here. I think I agree with Joe. I enjoyed the first two Deadpool movies. They were fun. I don't care a lot about Deadpool. Like, I'm not super invested in him as a character, but watching Ryan Reynolds play that character in those movies is great. I like him as like extra characters in the comics I've read him in. So I'm looking forward to this. Just mainly, I was mostly excited because seeing him and Hugh Jackman playing off each other, and the way they announced they were doing this a couple years ago, where Ryan's sitting on the couch or whatever, and then Hugh Jackman walks through the background. He's like, "Hey, you want to do a movie?" And he's like, "Yeah, whatever, Ryan." And I was like, "Okay, this is gonna be fun." Whether it means anything to the universes or not, like I'm in on that concept.
The fact that they're friends in real life should help their on-screen chemistry for sure. Yeah,
because they're just going to be tearing you. It's like you and me on Sunday nights, or on this, we're just, I'm all soft and gushy, and you're just tearing into me like a angry hamster with, I don't know,
into Richard Gere. Oh no!
Oh,
that was
too soon.
Well, that was a good Deadpool joke, at least. That fit the concept we're doing with.
Yeah.
But I'll say it has potential. It can't fix everything that they've done wrong since Endgame. Like, there has been movies I like, there have been characters I've liked, but there's a lot of stuff that's just like set up and not paid off, not as much as I want to keep liking them, I'm in the point where I'm like, I'm just watching a lot of these just to stay with it. And Deadpool could correct or at least address some of that stuff. Like, oh, hey, that Love and Thunder was an alternate universe. The real Thor, it affected him a little differently. I'm not saying they can't fix everything. That's a tall order, but I think they could at least poke some jokes at it or address some of the things that people had problems with.
With that line of thought, I just want to ask you a question real quick. Do you think that they will at all touch the Kang situation with the actor or with the character switching, or, because obviously they're going to have to recast that character because, this is leading towards a Kang story. So they're going to need another Kang at some point. Like, do you think they address that in this film, or do they just stay away from it?
I mean, with the way they could, it might be because that happened so far into the production of the movie, that might be like a like a one-off joke kind of moment. I can't see it being like an effective plot device for the movie.
Gotcha.
But who knows? I mean,
because
I don't know.
It is around the TVA, which is like to Joe's point, like that's Loki series has all been about Kang. So I don't know. I figure at least they at least talk about Kang the character. Whether Jonathan Majors actually filmed anything for this film or not, or if they had to, I don't know if they had to recast anything. I don't know if they had to reshoot anything. I don't know if they had to cut anything. I don't know, because the introduction in that teaser of having the TVA means that there's possibly more on the table when it comes to that.
Sure.
But,
yeah, I mean, it could. It seems like the best way to address it without having to be serious about it in one of the other more heavy movie, potentially heavy intentional movies, kind of like the way they did with Rhodey in Iron Man 2. Is like, hey, it's me, I'm here, get used to it, or whatever. Which I know, I think, Sean, I can't remember if that one rubs you the wrong way or not, or if you just felt like they hadn't drawn attention to it. But I feel like they could do something like that in this movie to recast Kang and just go on from there. But I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, anytime that you're messing with the multiverse, we saw in the Doctor Strange movie, the second one, which was fucking terrible, but we saw that obviously there's versions of these characters in other universes that are in our world played by different actors. So, sure. And yeah, I mean, it would be a good opportunity if they're messing with the multiverse to introduce a new character or new person to play that role. But also to your point, though, they were already so far into production when all this stuff was going down. Well, they were done with the movie by the time the actual verdict came down. I think the movie was still kind of in production when the initial allegations and everything hit. So, did they film some stuff as a backup plan? And who knows? I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan. Deadpool 3.
This will actually bring me out to the theater to see it. And I haven't cared about a Marvel anything in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't even care if I go to a movie that I want to see or a TV show and there's gaps, because I don't feel like going back to watch any of that other shit.
Mm.
But this one, even though it's just a teaser, it's got me excited going forward. And I'm happy that Ryan Reynolds will be a part of the actual MCU as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's just fantastic. And he's a very handsome man, I'm not gonna lie.
Beautiful. Well, we're gonna go to Sean, but before we do, I gotta throw something out there, just kind of lob a softball to Sean, because this means that the Deadpool Colossus will be in the MCU. So as you talk about Deadpool 3, Sean, I want you to just realize that Colossus is now part of the MCU, and tell us how cool that is.
That makes me happy for the simple fact that that's one of my absolute favorite Marvel characters of all time, Colossus. And I mean, he's the closest to Colossus that we've ever gotten in live action, because the original movies, he literally was a blink and you miss it moment for the most part. And typically they didn't know what to do with him. And it's the same as the animated show. There's maybe 1 or 2 episodes where here he is, he shows up, and then Das Vidania, he's off, and that's it. So the fact that he has managed to keep being the voice of reason, Jiminy Cricket, conscience for Deadpool for 2 movies so far, it really does make me smile and go like, I would have never, ever thought of that concept. And now that I've seen it, I can't unsee it. I love that he's connected to that movie, because it is, for me, the truest X-Men-like movie that they've made since the X-Men movies ever hit. For me, I love it for that level. My wife loves it because she thinks Ryan Reynolds is a god, and I'm really not at a point in my life with my dad bod being what it is to even fight her on that. So the cool thing is, it's the first time I've been excited over something, and she checks it out herself, and she goes, "Oh, we're doing a date day," and I'm like, oh, "I don't even have to fight you. We are doing a date day to do this summer." And it's awesome for that reason, because she liked the X-Men movies, and I had to struggle with, like, there's so much about them I don't like, but okay, and you like those movies, that's at least something. But then once Deadpool came into it, it's like, okay, and then all of a sudden Hugh Jackman, for her, she's just gonna sit there grinning like an idiot through the whole entire thing, the same way I do when Black Widow shows up as Scarlett Johansson. And I'm like, the whole time. So,
got a question for you, Sean, from Carlo. Do we see a fastball special in Deadpool 3?
I would love there to be a fastball special, because, I mean, hell, we saw it in X3 and it was really lame. So it'd be really badass for this like 7-foot tall version of Colossus that they have in the movies to like grab Logan and whip him into something. Because the way they did it in the other ones, it was more like a heave ho. I did it to myself. Heave ho, which I did to myself here. And it looked so like, yeah, that ain't how it works. Look at what Arthur Adams draws, or look what Jim Lee draws before you do that next time.
You know what they need in there more than the fastball special? Is the exploding Seabiscuit.
Yeah.
No, I want to see what happens. I wanted to actually bring that.
No, he just killed his setup.
I mean Gambit charging up Deadpool, so Deadpool explodes like a bag of bones and blood.
I want to bring up the fact that I'm shutting my whole system down. So I have to agree completely with Ryan. I haven't been like excited about anything Marvel, DC, anything really for a while to go to the theater. This is one that I've been waiting eagerly to go see. I mean, I think it'll be a good movie, but regardless if it's going to be a good movie, there's going to be some shit that happens that you're like, oh my God, I can't believe they got away with this. And I want to see it just to see those things. Like, what are those things that Ryan's going to throw in there that you're like, I can't believe Disney let him get away with this. So, that should be fun. And then Joe, you wanted to talk about Halo, the series. Apparently, they got season 2 that is coming out or has come out.
I think the first 3 episodes are out. Yeah.
Okay.
It came out this week.
So now I had mentioned in our chat that Halo sucks, the game and the series. And I've played one time on the game and I've not seen the series. I was just trying to see if I could make Joe Gonzalez mad, and you didn't bite. So you're not near as fun or gullible as Jesse. So I just want to throw that out there.
I respectfully disagree with your wrong opinion, Curtis.
But go ahead and tell us a little bit about Halo, the series.
I'm going to start. I want to preface that if you're a fan of something, you should support the content, because many Halo fans are pooping all over the series because it's not exactly like the games.
Hey, sounds like
And-
Motu fans, right, Sean?
Right. So,
Yeah.
you know what's
Little
going to
bit.
happen is that we're not going to have Halo content, you know? So, which I think is a shame.
Yeah.
So the games are fantastic. It's one of my favorite series of video games. I've played them all, and they're all fantastic. I think the show is different because it's a show, not a video game.
Mhm.
So the show goes more into the characters. They've changed the way a lot of the characters behave, and I understand how that can upset some people. But again, it's a show, not a game. Like, you know, when you're developing characters in a game, especially a first-person shooter, you're getting a cutscene in between. You know, you fight for 20 minutes and then
Mhm.
go into a cutscene, and that's where you develop these characters. And
Right.
that doesn't work for a TV show. I don't think that's going to have, you know, any kind of mass appeal. So it's really different, but I'm enjoying it so far. It's the world I like. They went back to a time frame before the original game started.
Mhm.
You know, I'm excited about season 2. I haven't watched the episodes yet, but the storyline is the fall of Reach. So
Okay.
the games are about aliens that try to wipe out the human race in the far future, and
Right.
just a very generic sum up. And Reach is like the humans' pinnacle colony. Like they've gone out and they've colonized this planet Reach, and it's like their proudest colony world. And the Covenant, the bad guy aliens, just come in and wipe out the whole planet. Civilians, soldiers, everybody. They just wipe the place out, and that's the story in the games. So I'm
these
excited
aren't
to
like
see how
like friendly Reese's Pieces aliens. They're like
No.
they're like mean aliens.
Yes.
they're fun. They're fun aliens. I like them. I like them about as much as I like Reese's Pieces.
Okay.
But, you know, they. So I'm excited to see, because you know the show is going to be taken from probably a more dramatic light. You know, of soldiers trying to hold off an alien invasion. It's not even an invasion. They're just there to destroy the planet. You know, I think that it has a ton of potential, and I really hope that they pull it off in a way that I'm happy with. So I'm really excited about the second season, just because it's one of my favorite storylines from like the games and the books.
So for those that haven't seen it, where can they watch that? Where is it streaming?
Paramount Plus.
Paramount Plus. Okay, cool. So that's a recommend from Joe Gonzalez.
I
Okay.
second that.
Yeah, please,
All right.
please
And
watch it.
Ryan
I don't
too.
want Halo to go away.
Very
And
nice.
and without giving any spoilers, I started the first episode. I'm about halfway through the second season. The
Mhm.
first episode of the second season. You see them start building towards what you were just talking about with Reach, without giving anything away, with the
Nice.
mass invasion. So and I think it's visually, I think it's a beautiful looking show. And the cast, the guy that plays Master Chief, I think he's doing an excellent job.
Beautiful.
Mhm.
Well, I'll definitely check it out. Jesse or you, Sean, are either you guys watching this, or does it sound like it's anything that's interesting to you guys?
I played a little bit of the game. I think I mostly played like multiplayer, like with like death matches and stuff with friends. So I'm not hugely attached to the existing storyline and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it looks interesting. I don't have Paramount Plus. I might get it to give it a try. I forgot season 1 was out. Because I know they've been trying to get good Halo stuff for years. I think at one point, was it Peter Jackson or Neil Blomkamp who did District 9? Like someone was supposed to be making like a big epic Halo like movie series, and it never happened. And I don't know if this show is what became of that eventual startup for that or not, but I like the sound of it, and the fact that Joe likes the game so much and that he's promoting it. If I get a chance to try out Paramount Plus, I will definitely be giving Halo a try.
Cool.
Yeah.
If you do get Paramount Plus, I would recommend Tulsa King too. That's fun with Sylvester Stallone. So
That was
FYI.
That was better than I thought it was going to be.
It was. I thought it was going to be a complete
fire.
joke, but it was actually
Yeah.
really good. Sean, what about you? You into the whole Halo scene?
I played it probably, oh my god, it was like when Heroes was on TV. I was dating a girl, and one of the things that we would do was get together at her apartment, and she'd do death matches with me in Halo. And I was like, this is what we're doing. We're literally just sitting here playing video games. And she's like, is there a problem with that? I'm like, no, this is awesome. And we would do that and stuff. And that's what got me into at least like, oh, this is what Halo's about or whatever. And I got Paramount Plus in the last week. And now I'm like, well, I keep seeing these previews for it. And I'm like, you know what? There's no Mass Effect movie or show. I'm kind of cool with doing something like this because it would feel like in that realm. At least the stuff that I like from that game series. So yeah, I think I will give it a shot.
You won't be sorry.
I think those were the ones that we were going to talk about for Event Horizon. Yep. Was there anything else that we had, or is that pretty much cover the ones that we were discussing?
I just want to highlight, we don't have to get into a deep conversation about them, but Avatar: The Last Airbender is coming to Netflix, I believe, next week. Okay. If not next week, next month. The live action remake of that, and I'm not hugely attached to the anime or the animated series, but it looks cool. And the couple episodes I watched the cartoon I liked, but now that I'm so close to the live action, it's kind of like reading the book after you see the movie. It ruins the movie. Reading the book before the movie ruins the movie for you. I'm gonna wait and watch the cartoon until after I've watched the live series. So that and the final season of Bad Batch, that does start next week.
Oh, cool. All right. Well, we're almost at the 2-hour mark, so we better get into this adventure party, or we're gonna run out of time. So basically just had this idea where we would just kind of brainstorm and just run through a random adventure party that you put together based on characters that have been in comic books. It does not have to be a superhero, doesn't have to be a supervillain, doesn't have to be just Marvel or DC. Anybody that's ever appeared in a comic book in some form or fashion is eligible. The only rules were that you put together a party of 5 people of your choosing and then talk about it here on the show. So who wants to go first? Jesse, you want to start and we'll wrap it around? Are you prepared?
Sure.
Or we can start somewhere else if you're not.
No, I'll go first.
Okay.
So am I just listing off my 5 characters?
Your 5 characters and why you felt like they'd be a good mix, or why you felt like they should be included.
Okay. Get a lot of eye rolling from Curtis. I just know it.
Probably going to be
rogue.
It's probably going to be 5 women, and they all love Nazis.
Wow!
I just figured there were different versions of rogue.
You do know the movies I've recommended that have Nazis in them, like they're the bad guys.
Oh,
and
okay.
I'm glad
they hate Nazis. Sorry. All right.
So, first of all, no surprise to anybody, Rogue.
What?
From X-Men.
Everybody hit Jesse with your surprise face.
Specifically, here's the twist. Rogue from the end of the Ultimate X-Men run, where they were hold on. They were living in their own like part of like the American Southwest. They had like made a desert. The basically all mutants got kicked out, thrown into this like part of the desert. They were able to make habitable ground. They like did elevation. Storm was able to control the weather and all this stuff and make, so they had like a little place
Similar-
to live.
Similar to like the beginning of the movie Logan?
No,
Or no?
N-
Weren't
what?
they
No.
like weren't they kind of secluded and out in the desert somewhere?
He was by himself.
Well, he was there with Professor X and that other
Yeah,
dude.
but like all
Yeah.
the X-Men, like the X-Men in that
Okay.
world, the mutants had been revealed to be like created by the government. It was like part of the whole super soldier thing.
Oh, okay. I never heard this.
So, all this stuff. But at that point, Rogue was kind of like isolating herself, and she would like live up in the trees. So she was kind of like Tarzan, living in the trees. But because of the touch of her power, she could like touch the plants and like talk to the trees. So they'd be like, hey, there's intruders coming in from like the southwest quadrant or whatever. So she was able to kind of like help. It was a different take on her powers and all that stuff in that time setting, and I just thought that was really cool. She still had her flight and strength and all that jazz, but I liked where they were going with that story angle on her. So Rogue next up, because she's got the flight, strength, and near invulnerability, and the power absorption. So lots of good power sets there.
And tree talking now.
Hellboy is my number 2 pick. I just especially love the way Ron Perlman plays him in the movies. That attitude, I think, that captures the comic book versions of him very well. So Hellboy, because he's got the quips, he's got like the religious knowledge, he's got the big gun called the Samaritan, and he's like a giant kid, and Hellboy's just awesome. Next up is Mara from DC, not the movies, the comics. Water powers, aquakinesis, all that sort of stuff. Powerful, badass, angry, stay out of her way. She's the wild card of the team.
Pillow defecation.
Huh?
Pillow
I
defecation.
said
He said
not
comic,
the
not
movies.
Okay, gotcha.
And her character in the movies didn't do that. That was just
Gotcha.
a real person.
Okay.
Adam Eve from Invincible, the comics, not the show, even though it's technically the same character. Really like that character in the comics. She can make almost anything come into existence. She just changes particles or whatever. Pretty badass, puts up with a lot of shit in that story. Spoiler alert, I am going to spoil this. At one point in the comics, she gets her leg ripped off, like completely ripped off, and she like continuously, has to, I can't remember if it was continuously or if she did it once and it just stayed there, but she like basically regrew her own leg with her powers. Which is pretty, if she can do that to herself, she can help other people. So Adam Eve, and she can fly. And last but not least, I guess second wild card, Raphael from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, specifically the current IDW series. Because he's my favorite turtle, and turtle power, cowbunga.
Well, you had 2 less women than I thought you would. So congratulations on that. And the only other part that I thought was a little odd was that you were questioning the legitimacy of Rogue falling in love with Gambit, but you're perfectly fine with her talking to trees. But hey, that's cool, man. Whatever.
I don't understand the correlation between those two concepts at all.
There's not. I just wanted to poke you. But no, it sounds like
No.
a cool team. It's a interesting, cool team you put together there. Anybody have any thoughts on Jesse's team? All right, Sean, your team.
I'm just thinking Raphael as a teenager in the middle of that's going to have a blast, probably. I mean, they made it that Michelangelo was always the one looking at April, but I think Raph eventually be like, I'm not so mad anymore. This is kind of awesome. All right. So I was trying to go, okay, like the different roles that people bring to the table on this one. So I guess I don't know. I'll start with for flight and for like energy projection or anything along those lines. Firestorm. He's always been a favorite of mine. He also does the Adam Eve deal where he can manipulate molecules and he can create other things out of stuff and And on top of that, he comes with 2 people, not just one, because he's Ronnie Raymond and Professor Stein.
Mhm.
So I like that there is like it's almost like they become one person, so he's that one slot on the team, but there is Ronnie's body and Stein's intellect also in play there. I think that's kind of fun. It kind of works in 2 different levels. When it comes to I guess I want to not I guess tech slash science slash intellect side of things. I'm gonna go completely off the road for me on this one, but I will say I like the idea of Mr. Spock for some reason. Like him being in this. I feel like he is versatile because he can fight. He's got the Vulcan neck pinch and all that. He can mind meld with people. And he also is that character where he goes into situations and 9 out of 10 times he'll just put up his eyebrow and do fascinating. And he'll be more into what's happening and want to explore it further. And he'd almost be that wild card in an intellectual way where they'd be like, get the hell away from that or whatever. And he'd be like, but we should study this, you know, and he's all fascinated by it and stuff. So I think that would be fun. For the heavy hitter, I had to go with Colossus because he's my boy, and he's bringing as the wild card, the real wild card to the table. I am doing it. Colossus and Deadpool. I had to do it because the 2 of them in those movies are so much fun that I'm just like, yes, I need them to be a match set to go into this. Colossus having his strength and also his the steel form. It makes him versatile. He doesn't even have to breathe when he's in steel form. So there's certain situations he can get into and out of that other characters might not even be able to survive, which is kind of cool. Deadpool being Deadpool, the healing factor, but then bringing the comedy to it, and also bringing the fact he's willing to kill outright and be that guy if they needed to have a mission where you have to kill this person. He'd be the one going, okay, and he'd jump into it. And Colossus, no, 4 or 5 times, and he'd be like, he'd be like shooting at Colossus while trying to kill the other person, and be like, shut the fuck up, and just, be Deadpool. and as the leader of the group, I had to do it. I'm going Leonardo. I think it would be funny as hell to have this Ninja Turtle with katana blades who was trained by a rat in this situation and going, what in the hell did I get into with this? But he's still trying to find his calm. He's meditating and all this stuff. And it's like, I like the idea that, Mr. Spock would find him fascinating and he'd be going to Mr. Spock going, help me, please. Make me find me a way to deal with these people. I don't know how to do this. And it would be the whole, like, him having to figure this out and rise to the challenge of being a leader of this, like, crazy group of superpowered people along with a Vulcan. So, yeah.
All right. Interesting team. Rygon, what do you got?
So my first pick was Batman, not only because he can fight and whoop somebody's ass, but he's a master strategist and he's come up with every contingency for any possible outcome. And then I went Catwoman, Selena Kyle, because she can also fight, but if you need something stolen, she'll go in there and grab that for you. And then I picked I don't know if you guys are familiar with this character, but Grifter from the Wildcats.
Oh yeah.
Anybody from So another expert in hand-to-hand combat and espionage. I figured he could be a pretty good scout, figure some shit out there. And then I went Constantine, a magic user, and he's a sweet, fast talker, limey bastard. Probably worm its way out of any situation. And for my last one, I went Lady Death, also another magic user, expert swordsman, and just all around badass. And basically my muscle at that point.
And man, does she wear that bikini?
Oh, hell yeah. There you go.
All right.
I got
Nice.
Awesome. Cool. That's a good team.
Mhm.
So I was having trouble with this. And so what I decided to do was kind of break out the roles that I would like to fill within the team and then put characters with it, but I didn't want to pull from like multiple characters from the same universe or whatever. So I've got like each property can only land in a spot once. So it made it a little bit more challenging for me, but the roles that I put into there are, a Boy Scout type character. So like just, somebody that's very just good, like
Mhm.
good to their core. That's kind of that moral compass of the team. A wild card character that, you never know what they're going to do. Sometimes they're with you, sometimes they're against you. They're just kind of crazy. A brute character. So somebody that's just, the muscle, so to speak. A magic user, and then a tech guy. So those were my roles that I was trying to fill using various different properties. So for the Boy Scout / moral compass of the team, I went with a young Obi-Wan Kenobi. So like, kind of the training Anakin, kind of that era, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Just feel like he's just all in all like a really good guy, that isn't going to cut corners and do things that are maybe morally gray. He's not a ends justify the means kind of guy for the most part. Like he's going to do the right thing. Plus, Force user, and I wanted somebody from the Star Wars universe, and he's probably my favorite. So for the wild card character from the DC universe, I took Lobo because I absolutely love Lobo. He's like ridiculous and super strong. Like he's fought Superman numerous times and has just beat the hell out of him. And Superman is he's the main guy. He's the big guy. And Lobo's just crazy. Like you never know what he's gonna do. So yeah, I had to include him in there. For the muscle / brute, I changed this a couple times. At one point I had Hellboy, which Jesse chose, and at one point I had Colossus, but I settled on Hulk. So just the Incredible Hulk in there for the muscle of the team. For the magic user, I actually went to Masters of the Universe, and initially I put Sorceress, but typically in that. Those universes, like she's stuck to the castle. So I went with Evelyn, because especially in the Revelation and Revolution series, I've really grown to love that character. And so that kind of version, which I know they've also done the comic books for, before those shows have come out. So she's in those comic books as well. So that version of Evelyn where she's, good Lynn or whatever the hell she is. And then for my tech guy, I had to do like Sean and Jesse. You got to throw a turtle in there. So I'm going with Donatello. So he's going to be my tech guy. So it's a little bit of an odd team, but like I said, I filled those roles. So yeah, I was pretty happy with it. And Joe. Now, Joe kind of threw a little bit of a curveball to him because I don't think I mentioned that it was 5 characters, or if I did, he missed it. I don't know that I did. So he had 7 characters, but he's going to give us his 5 that are like the main 5. He's going to give us 2 bonus ones because, he put the work into it. So go ahead and give us your team, Joe.
Well, I want to start by saying after listening to you guys, I misunderstood the assignment a little bit too.
Okay.
So my team is based a little bit different. You said an adventuring party, an ideal adventuring party. So
yep,
I'm a D&D player. I have in my mind what an ideal party is, and it has a lot to do with what their roles in combat are. So my list is going to include.
Just so you know, Joe, there were no rules as far as how you determined your adventure party. So if you went with a D&D format, that's absolutely fine. So yeah,
sure. I wrote it down, so this is what it is, even if I'm wrong. But
yeah.
But,
okay.
So my ideal party with my years of experience playing D&D, it's all about rules. So tank, melee DPS, range DPS, healer, controller, support, and leader. If those roles are covered, we win fights. And losing sucks, and I don't like it. So, so I went mostly with Marvel superheroes to cover those roles, just because I felt like that's probably the characters I'm most familiar with. So for my tank character, you want to have a big guy out front who's not going to let the enemies get by you. I went with the Blob. I really like the character.
Great choice.
Overall, his power fits the role, but Frank Dukes is also a really entertaining character, depending on, how he's presented. I like him a lot.
Definitely absorbed some damage.
Melee DPS is a character. I'm really surprised nobody picked Wolverine. He's just, it's Wolverine. If you're going to get somebody in on the front line to flank your tank, then, he's a good one for that role. He's not going to go down easy. Range DPS. What's that?
I said he doesn't need as many heals either, because he can regenerate himself. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Yep. That's very helpful. Range DPS. This one covers two roles, because I like to have a rogue in the party, right? A thief. And ironically, Gambit is a rogue.
Nice.
See what I did there?
Yeah.
So he covers that role. He can be a thief, and his powers are ranged, so he can be my ranged DPS. Healer was the toughest role to fill, because it's really not a super common power. I went with Groot just because Groot heals on occasion, in different media. So he maybe wouldn't have been my ideal choice for like a cleric type character, but he was one that I could think of that actually healed somebody in a comic book. So without cheating, because Baldur's Gate has a comic book. The original Baldur's Gate, there was a comic book, and I was like, I could totally fill my team with D&D character. That would have been too easy. So controller, classically, the controller is your wizard. Wall of force, wall of fire, just different spells that control the battlefield, so that enemies are coming in when you want them to, or staying back, or moving them around, things like that. I went with Invisible Woman, because force fields are really handy at controlling a battlefield. So I thought that was probably the best choice for that role. So that is my initial 5.
Okay.
That's the 5 that I'm going with.
And bonus 2?
The bonus 2, control, support. So a support character, fills a lot of roles. That's like your bard. A bard can do a lot of different things. A druid can do a lot of different things. Those are good support classes. I went with the Goblin Queen. Madeline Pryor. I collected, X-Men villain, Inferno.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
What did she do?
Wow, tell me you only know X-Men because you watch the cartoons, without telling me you only know X-Men because you only watch the cartoons.
Fuck you, Jesse.
So she was in the comics, she was a clone of Jean Grey that Cyclops married, and then she ended up being involved with was Mr. Sinister, right?
Mr. Sinister.
And anyways, she ends up having like demon powers.
And
she brings demons to New York City. It was pretty cool. So she can summon demons, shoot fire bolts. Like, she just could cover a lot of different roles. So I thought that she would be a good support character. And then for the leader role,
aren't Cyclops and Havoc brothers?
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's why
Okay.
reading the comic was way more interesting than a cartoon for kids. I'm telling you.
Yeah, but
When
I
I
don't want to
was-
walk that 20 miles.
When I was 9 years old, I'm looking at that going, what is happening? Why are they looking into the shadows? Then I found out.
I'm like a third of the way through Jesse's book, and I
Wow.
read a couple lines, and it's no offense to Jesse's book. It's just like my eyes start getting blurry and stuff. I'll hold my feedback but I have been enjoying it. It's just I hate reading. I'm just not. Yeah.
No, with all sincerity, I'm proud of you for being a third of the way through that.
Yeah.
Folks need to know it is the rough draft. It is not refined. It is the rough draft. So I mean,
I think so far I found like one grammatical error. Like it's not,
you need to go back to school because I'm sure there's a lot more in there.
but I'm enjoying it so far. But anyway, go ahead.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
The best
Joe,
thing
you had
is,
one
though,
more.
if we found out that Curtis is a vampire, the only thing we have to do is throw a novel at him, and he's done. That's the best part about it. That's his biggest weakness. Read.
Yeah.
He just
All
falls
right.
asleep.
Joe, you had one more bonus character.
One more bonus character. I like to have. I call it the leader role. For
Mhm.
me, it's always a paladin. I like to have a D&D paladin. They're charismatic. They're at least when I started playing D&D, they had to be lawful good. So you always had a leader that had some morals, and then they can heal, they can tank, they can DPS, they can cover a lot of other roles in the group if something happens. This is the only non-Marvel character I went with because who's a better paladin than Superman? It had to be Superman for that role to take my paladin spot 100%. So
Interesting.
he's going to make the right decisions all the time.
Yes.
Question, Joe, can you run through those 7 roles one more time? Not the characters, but the classes.
Yeah. Tank, melee DPS, ranged DPS, healer, controller, support, and leader, which is Joe code for paladin.
Okay. So if I may, if
Go
I
ahead.
can add on real quick.
Yeah, how about it?
So my tank is Hellboy.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
My melee DPS is Raph. Range DPS is Mara. Healer is well, since we're adding 7, I'm adding my 2 extra characters is Tila, sorceress Tila from Revolution, whatever.
Yeah.
Good choice. Good choice.
Mm-hmm.
You said controller is I'm going with Adam Eve for controller because she also can do like the force fields and barricades and stuff.
Yep.
Support. I put support. I don't have a support. I'll come back to that. And Rogue I have as the leader because she was the leader of the X-Men team a couple times. But she could also double as the tank. Support.
And talk to Jade.
I also had Invisible Woman as one of my potentials, Joe. So, but who would I put on support? Support is just kind of like the
Bard, druid, characters that can fill roles to back up other characters.
That's good.
Like a druid sending in their wolf pet to give another character flank. That kind of stuff.
I'm gonna go with Meep because he was in a comic and I made it.
All right.
Very nice. Very nice.
He has no powers. He just says Meep.
Well, I gotta say, like, I felt pretty good coming into this because I had done my own like roles that I was trying to fill. But after hearing you guys, Like I don't have a healer. I definitely don't have anybody that talks to trees. I don't know how I overlooked that. So yeah, I mean, I feel like my list is not near as good as your guys's, but yeah, it was fun. I appreciate the input. I'll just have to keep that in mind if we do one of these again. Like, definitely need a tree talker. So,
Tell me you've never played D&D with a druid character without telling me you've never played D&D with a druid character.
Fuck rogue.
That's what he's trying to do. Okay. All right. And last but not least, we will hit our This Week in Theaters. Close out the show. Got the random number generator on 1982 to 2010, and we are at 2010. So here we go.
Born.
Yep.
I was actually alive for this.
I was alive.
Yeah. Heck, even Dooch would have been around at this time. So 2010, and we are looking for Febtober 16th. Here we go. All right. We have number one at the box office, Valentine's Day. That's a lot of people. I don't know who this is. Intertwining couples in a singles in Los Angeles break up and make up based on the pressures and expectations of Valentine's Day. Anybody got actors or actresses on that?
I've seen it. I don't remember. It was a million people. It was one of those things, kind of like Love Actually, where they tried to intertwine all the stories.
Julia Roberts, Jessica Biel, Anne Hathaway, Jennifer Garner, Bradley Cooper, Jamie Foxx, Ashton Kutcher. The list keeps going.
So a lot of people, and people we know.
People.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then we've got Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief. Teenager discovers he's a descendant of the Greek god and sets out on an adventure to settle ongoing battle between the gods. So, okay. Then we've got The Wolfman. Upon his return to his ancestral homeland, an American man is bitten and subsequently cursed by a werewolf. Anybody know who's in that?
Benicio del Toro, Anthony Hopkins, Emily Blunt.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was Hopkins, but I couldn't tell from the picture. Okay. Then a Vader, a paraplegic Marine dispatched to the moon, Pandora, on a unique mission, becomes torn between following orders and protecting the world he feels is his home. A Vader. So, okay.
Potato.
Dear John, romantic drama about a soldier who falls for a conservative college student while he's home on leave.
Channing Tatum and
yeah.
Amanda Seyfried.
Okay. Then we've got The Tooth Fairy. A bad deed on the part of a tough minor league hockey player results in an unusual sentence. He must serve 1 week as the real-life Tooth Fairy. That is starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
From Paris with Love. Looks like a shoot-'em-up flick. We got in Paris, a young employee in the office of the U.S. ambassador hooks up with an American spy looking to stop a terrorist attack in the city.
Pretty sure that's John Travolta.
Really?
Yes,
Okay.
it
I
is.
think so.
All right. Then we've got Edge of Darkness. Mel Gibson, homicidal detective Thomas Craven.
Read that again.
Homicide detective, not homicidal. Good catch.
Slightly different take.
I was like, man, he's fucking killing people, and he's okay. He's the only one that can catch himself.
I just detected you.
Homicide detective Thomas Craven investigates murder of his activist daughter. He uncovers a corporate cover-up and government conspiracy that attracts an agent tasked with cleaning up the evidence. So,
Oh, is
there
that a
you go.
modern day news headline?
I don't know. Then we've got Crazy Heart. Looks like Jeff Bridges, faded
Yes.
country music musician, is forced to reassess his dysfunctional life during a doomed romance that also inspires him. I think that's
What other kind of musicians are there?
Yeah, I think this is the prequel to Big Lebowski.
A country music musician as opposed to a country pickle musician or a country.
And last but not least, rounding out the top 10, When in Rome. Beth is a young, ambitious New Yorker who is completely unlucky in love. However, on a whirlwind trip to Rome, she impulsively steals some coins from a reputable fountain of love and then is aggressively pursued by a band of suitors. And this is
Kristen Bell and Josh Duhamel.
Never heard of him.
some other guys.
Other people.
That movie's freaking hilarious. It's dumb, but I love it.
Okay, and then we saw last week, you get into the 2000s and all of a sudden there's like hundreds of movies in the theater at the same week. But for the top 10, what are you seeing? We will start at the top with Jesse. Jesse, what are you seeing?
Based on this top 10 list, man, I'm gonna throw you for a loop just so you don't think you know what I'm gonna say, Curtis. I'm gonna go with the Wolfman.
Okay. What did you think that I thought you were going to say?
Avatar.
I think it's pronounced a Vader.
No. It's quite possible I saw both of these in the theater this week in 2010. Because I know I went back to Avatar several times while it was out, and I did see Wolfman in theaters.
Okay. Sean, what are you saying?
Yeah, based on everything here, I gotta go Wolfman myself too, and that's not really like I have to see it. It's I have to see something, therefore I'll go see that one because the rest of this, I've seen a few here and there, but there's not anything grabbing me this time around.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna pick that one. I may add it to my list to watch just to see if he's got nards, but I think I'm gonna go with the Edge of Darkness. I don't know. That one seems like it would be somewhat interesting, but I'll probably add that one and the Wolfman to my list. So going to Edge of Darkness. Ryan, what are you seeing?
I'm with you. I'm going Edge of Darkness too.
Sweet.
I don't remember the Wolfman being that good.
It's not.
Okay, all right.
I saw it once.
It's just not a great list, is what Jesse's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
It's a Wolfman movie, and Emily Blunt's in it. So
Gotcha.
It's a thing that exists.
Yes.
Well, I will get the popcorn, Ryan, and I will make sure to cut the hole out of the bottom.
Holes in the top. Have you not seen the Dune bucket? I thought we talked about this already.
That's true. Joe, we've got 2 for Wolfman, 2 for Edge of Darkness. What are you seeing?
I hope he says
Well, I've only seen 2 movies on this list. The
Tooth Fairy
Wolfman
twice.
I have seen the Tooth Fairy, actually. The Wolfman, I was actually really excited for this movie because of the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like a really emotional, impactful movie, and Mr. Del Toro is a fantastic actor, and none of that's in there. He has that one line where he goes, "I will kill all of you," and I thought that's how the movie was going to be. No, it was that one freaking line. And I remember being so disappointed because I really had high hopes for that. So, yeah, I'm going to go watch the Tooth Fairy. You know what? for a kids movie, it's not bad. I mean, it's a kids movie. It sounds ridiculous, and it is because it's a kids movie. But I enjoyed it. I like The Rock, so I love
that Avatar made like $1 bajillion and out of the this is not what I would consider to be the best list we've seen, and yet none of us picked that movie. So,
Do you want to know why I've never seen the Avatar?
Why is that?
Or Avatar?
You hate blue people.
Unobtainium.
I don't know what
they
that is.
named the ore that they're after unobtainium.
Oh, okay.
I heard that, and I knew I could never get over that. So I just never watched the movie.
Okay.
What? Okay. Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Just because no, because I've heard a lot of other people say that. Why like I have no problem with it. I think it's a dumb name, but like it's not enough. Like what bothers you about it so much that it makes you not want to see the movie?
I feel like it kind of sets, because James Cameron has directed a lot of movies that I like Terminator and Aliens and stuff like that. I felt like that was, and knowing the people that I know personally that really liked the movie, I feel like it set a tone for the movie that would cause me to not like it, but it wouldn't be the kind of movie that I would like.
So
it just wasn't in my
was
wheelhouse.
Too on the nose for you? Like it's just too obvious? Is that what the problem is?
Yeah, it's just not the. I'm trying to think of a good way to put it. Like
clever.
It's not clever,
okay.
But the draw of the movie really is the special effects, right? That was the big thing. Go and watch it in 3D and blue people flying over waterfalls and stuff. And that's cool. Again, I'm not a big movie guy. I don't watch a lot of movies, but I take a good story, over a special effects fest, I don't know. It just, there was nothing about it that really drew me in. I haven't watched Titanic either because it's a sad movie and I don't want to be sad.
I
that's just
kind of understand what you're saying. I understand where you're coming from, Joe, because like it's like put a little effort into the naming of it. I feel this way when I go to my kitchen. Like there's this big box that we have that refrigerates stuff, and it's just called a refrigerator. And then there's this other thing that like blends stuff, and they just call it a blender. There's this one little contraption, it toasts things, and they call it a toaster. And it's like,
wait.
Put a little effort into the name.
Hold on, Curtis. So. You go in the kitchen, but you're a man. You don't belong there.
I will say this: unobtainium as the name of the mineral is, in my opinion, it's dumb. Like I feel like it's a thing they put in the script as like, well, we'll name it later. We're just gonna put it in there, and they just never bothered to change it by the time they filmed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's and I'm not trying to make anybody like it. But yeah, I think that's a dumb name. They could have come up with something better. So in my mind, when I watched it the first time, I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird. And I'm like, oh, okay. Probably someone jokingly wrote that on a memo because it's like this big corporate structure and it just, it got passed through and, It's all corporate nonsense. So at least it wasn't called like Pepsi Rock or, Coca-Cola Stone or something.
That has
like
more of a Wayne's World vibe. I'd probably enjoy that.
Dorito ore.
Or Rito.
Yeah. I just want to kind of look at the weeks out there. So everything in the top 10 was within 10 weeks. As we scroll down, let's see if there's anything that's been out there for a while. And education was 19 weeks. What's this one? This is probably an IMAX one. I don't know. Under the Sea 3D, 53 weeks. This
that's
one
probably one of those.
Yeah, those IMAX things. Anything else that's out there for a while? Yeah, that's about it. There's nothing that's popping
What's
out.
105 weeks? U2 3D, 109 weeks.
Yeah, it's a lot of IMAX stuff. I don't know why that stuff even makes these lists.
There's one that's 500 something weeks.
Let's see. Yep, right here, Galapagos. So there you go.
That's like almost 2 years straight.
Mm-hmm. There you go. All right. Well, this was a rough this week in theaters, in my opinion. So
No
yeah,
weeks.
I really
weeks.
think you guys ought to give Tooth Fairy a chance. That is a solid.
I've seen it. I have seen it.
Okay. So I think that's it. Did we have anything else that we wanted to cover? I know we got no douche, so no lightning round, no have you ever. Anything else before we start closing out the show? All right. Well, then let's see where everybody's at this weekend. I know Rygon, you guys got a Saturday Day Live tomorrow, right? With a special guest, Amber Gonzalez. Is that correct?
The more popular Gonzalez, yes, at 7 p.m. on the Hedgehog Action YouTube channel.
So I need to ask you a question about that. Like, are you guys both going to crowd around the laptop or the computer there, or like, is she going to get the computer and then you have to be like on your phone in another room?
Nope, fuck that. This is my motherfucking spot, and I'm going to be sitting my ass here.
Because I feel like she should get the better equipment.
No,
I mean, she's earned it.
Give her the hand-me-downs. She's getting the USB mic that barely fucking works.
Gotcha. Okay. So Hedgehog Action YouTube channel. Also, you guys live stream in the Dork Lair Collectors group on Facebook. And that's at what time tomorrow?
7 p.m.
7 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. And then you'll be on with me and Jesse in a couple weeks here, a week from Sunday.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, you got ZoloCon coming up next weekend, and then we'll be talking about that. So
I'm excited for that.
Beautiful.
The whole fucking weekend.
Yep. Joe, are you on Joe Gonzalez Live tomorrow?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, I'm actually traveling this weekend, so
gotcha.
Will not be on Ostradamus. But
okay.
Everybody should go check out his show anyways. It's a good
check
show,
out Ostradamus Toys. Check out the, what do they call it? The party, what is it?
The clubhouse.
The clubhouse. Check out the clubhouse. Tomorrow it'll be called the Clubhouse. The following week, if Joe's back, then it'll be called Joe Gonzalez Live again. So
I'm gonna have to start my own YouTube channel when I get
gang.
There you go. I will say I'll talk about shooting the shelf this Sunday. We've got Patrick Boyle and we've got Nate Armstrong on. They will be doing a kind of a preview for ZoloCon. We're also going to talk about a little bit about the Cabal and what the Cabal stands for, and how to really enjoy your time in the Cabal, because we've had a lot of we've had an influx of new people since the Nerd Zoic video, and just want to kind of throw that out there as a how to be successful in the Cabal kind of thing. So it'll be a good conversation. Sean, I know the Revolution episodes that we reviewed have been airing. You guys have another show lined up, or is that kind of what's going on the Legends of Grayskull channel right now?
That's pretty much it. We still got to record the 5th one, but the first 4 are making their way out there. I think the first 2 are already out there. The 3 and 4 will be out there soon. And other than that, I ain't doing shit.
Okay, so
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, we'll have to talk this weekend and find out when we can get everybody together to do that 5th one. So
yep, the big.
But yeah, check out Legends of Grayskull channel. We have been reviewing those. So if you've already watched the series, start watching those reviews. I think we did a pretty good job of breaking those down and giving our own spin on it. If you haven't watched that series yet, much to Joe's point earlier with the Halo series, like watch the Halo so that he can get more Halo content. Mm-hmm. Watch Motu Revolution because it is amazing. And after seeing it, I definitely want some more Motu content as well as a lot of other folks. So watch that over and over again on Netflix. Hey, if you're gonna take a nap, like it's the middle of the day, I'm an old guy, right? And I have found out that as an old guy, a nap is one
Wait.
of the greatest things in the world. Okay.
Is that why you don't want Pedro Pascal playing Reed Richards? Because you don't want people to expect you to do the same things he's doing?
No, I think he's going to take a nap while he's supposed to be acting. No, but listen, as an old guy, I'm telling you, naps are fucking amazing. They are awesome. So if you're an old guy like me and you're getting ready to take a nap, you're starting to feel a little drowsy on the couch or whatever, turn on Netflix, put on Motu Revolution, and just let it play in the background while you sleep. You know, that's what I do. And I've probably played it about 15 times at this point, just, taking naps. So there you go. And Jesse, also on the channel, we've been doing some Wednesday win shots. You want to kind of talk a little bit about what they can expect from those and what that is?
Well, so far we've done TV series, a couple of TV series. We've done Blue Eye Samurai, Echo, Invasion, Shrinking. I know you've got one coming up, I think, this week. I won't spoil what it is, but you've got a guest for the Wednesday one shot. So the Wednesday one shot is just kind of a quick 15-minute recap from either both of us or one of us or us and a guest, or who knows what's going to happen. That's not a tease. That's like, who knows? Like, I don't.
That's not
anyway.
that you're kicking me off the channel. That's just,
no.
okay.
I just mean, like, I wasn't trying to like tease like, oh, we've got a big special guest coming up for one of our 15-minute videos or anything like that. Just where we just talk about something. It's kind of the channel's staff recommendations, if you will, and it could be current stuff.
I like that,
because Blue Eye Samurai and Echo are both fairly recent. Shrinking and Invasion are still relatively new-ish. And it could be TV shows, YouTube stuff, music, comics, books. Well, Curtis won't be recommending books, but
comic books are cool because they got pictures.
Yes, no, that's true. And just my book, when it is done, will have approximately 12 pictures, not counting the cover.
Love that.
That's the plan. What was I saying? 15-minute. Yeah. So Wednesday one shots, just quick little shows. If you are a member of the Shooting the Shelf channel, you will get those a couple of days early before the rest of the plebeians out there in the universe. That it debuts. I have them set to go off noon on Wednesdays, noon Eastern time on Wednesdays. They are not live, even though the first couple seemed like they were live because I didn't know how to record it properly.
Beautiful.
So yeah, it's a lot of fun. We've got some good stuff coming up. Just things that we like to talk about, things we enjoy and want to recommend to other people to give a shot.
Awesome. Well, guys, it's been a fun show and appreciate everybody jumping on. The adventure parties were a lot of fun, and we'll see you guys next time on the OffWorld.
Bye.